All right. Welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages, to the second annual Donnie Lambert Draft Preview Show. This is a 2-hour special tonight, so buckle your seatbelts. We're going to be here for a while. The first hour, we've got a special guest that we are going to talk to, an actual member of the New Orleans Saints, Mr. Arthur Maulet, cornerback, number 37. We also have our third member of the team, Mr. Bob Rose, in the house with us tonight. And as always, I've got Sean Williams, my partner in crime in this situation. Sean, now
why is it that every time you refer to crime, the camera goes to me?
That's how it works.
Well,
that's how it works. Sean,
everybody has their roles to play.
That's right. With it being an hour earlier, how are you doing tonight?
Not well. I have had the day. Well, it got a whole lot better because now you got two number 37s on the show. We can't do anything but go up from here, baby.
There you go.
I'm just saying. We want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, and welcome to Under the Dome. This is our, as Alan alluded to, this is our second of the year 2-hour expanded format program. We always do the 2-hour season preview, and we always do 2 hours, our last show before the draft, and we effort ourselves to try to get someone that you guys want to hear from, which we have done in spades. I've been getting messages, emails, text messages, Facebook Messenger messages all week talking about how excited they were for this interview tonight. But before we get to our very special guest, I want to acknowledge the person for whom this show is named. We had one of our very first and original followers, Miss Donnie Lambert. She was if there ever was a diehard New Orleans Saints fan, she was it. And unfortunately, earlier this year, we lost her to cancer. And it was a no-brainer decision among us to we started this a year ago when she was dealing with the disease. We named it after her to try to brighten her day a little bit. It was a no-brainer for us to continue that and to leave it as it was in remembrance of Mama Donnie. And we think, oh, baby, my nephew got camera time. I like that. Hello, young Will. You don't know me, but you're going to learn me soon enough. Without any further ado. Oh, by the way, we want to thank our sponsor, the Fan First Productions. We want to invite everyone to subscribe to our show on iTunes and on YouTube at Under the Dome. Without any further ado, since Alan has already introduced the third member of our broadcast team, I will take the lead, and I want to introduce to you guys number 37 in your programs, number 1 in your heart, native son of New Orleans, Bonnabelle High School, number 37, this number right here. This guy has defied the odds, and he is continuing to defy the odds, and he represents the black and gold with all his heart and with all his might. Mr. Arthur Maulet.
Yo, yo, yo. What's up, you guys?
Arthur, we want to thank you very much for joining us tonight. You have no idea how much this means not only to us, but to our fans as well. Alan, I'm going to let you get started with the interview.
Oh, okay. All right. Arthur, one of the things that we first off, thank you for joining us tonight. One of the things fans have always wanted to know, what is it like as a player expecting to get drafted, to be there on draft day, waiting to hear your name called, and then in your case, it doesn't happen. So you become an undrafted free agent. Then what is it like in those 24 hours after the draft is over with? You know, the barrage of phone calls and so forth. Describe that process, beginning with, you know, you trying to figure out where you're going to get drafted, where you could possibly get drafted, and go from there.
Well, you know, it goes through the combine into the pro day and then to drafting. But I was a late guy with everything from Senior Bowl to the combine. So once I got to the Senior Bowl, this was my chance to figure out where I would get drafted, interview with teams, et cetera, et cetera. Also, once I got to the combine, the biggest thing they wanted to see was my 40. So I ran my 40. A lot of teams like me, they was like, "You run a 4.5, you're good. You run a 4.5, you're good." Everyone tell me, I'm like, okay, I got 6 or 7 teams telling me run a 4.5, 40, then I'm gonna get drafted somewhere. I run my 40, I run a 4.6. Busted. So I trained for pro day. I run a 4.5, but it's not on laser, so they think it's going to be a 4.6 normal on laser. So I get to the draft weekend, and it's kind of hectic. I know I'm not going the first day. That's the top 3 rounds. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen. Second day, maybe. Third day passes by. The Bengals, I'm thinking I'm going to get drafted to the Bengals. They have like 10 picks, 9 or 10 picks, something crazy like that. So I'm like, okay, they draft my kicker in the 5th round. I'm like, if they draft my kicker, they got to draft me. To be honest, I'm like, they draft my kicker, they got to come and get me. I might be the next pick. You know what I'm saying? 2 Memphis guys back to back. They draft the same guy that plays my position in my conference from the Houston Cougars. After that, I was like, yeah, I'm not getting drafted. So I turn it off, turn my phone off, turn the TV off. My agent calls my other phone like, okay, turn your phone back on, dude. You have the 7th round. So while the 7th round is going, the Saints call me. They're like, look, don't answer your phone, answer this phone number. We're going to try to trades with some team to get a 7th round pick for you. Long story short, it didn't happen. But after the draft, my phone went crazy. Like I didn't sit there. I didn't have to wait. It was like 10, 12 teams calling me. Another phone call, another phone call, another phone call, another phone call. So I'm just like, dang. Oh, okay. Where am I gonna go? So I just had to narrow it down to like 3 teams. Look at the roster spots. Look who I had to compete against. And it was out of the Saints, Tampa, and it was out of LA. And I chose to come back to my hometown. And I said to myself, if I'm going to come back to my hometown, I have to make the team because I can't come out here and not make the team. I'm not going to hear the end of it. So,
well, Arthur, let me ask you this. You just alluded to it there. Tell our listeners what exactly it means to grow up in the New Orleans area and fast forward several years, you've played your high school career, you've parlayed that into a college education, and you've parlayed your college education into a basically on-the-job training to possibly make the NFL, and you wind up by happenstance back in New Orleans with the team that I would assume that you grew up watching.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly does that mean to you? To be a member of the New Orleans Saints?
It means everything to me, man. I don't take one day for granted. I work out hard sometimes just because I'm here. I'm in my hometown. I don't want to embarrass anybody here. It just means a lot to me. Just me growing up and just knowing how much the team has an impact on the city. Man, I remember when I was the 2009 season when they won the Super Bowl. I was in high school. I didn't even have a license. My buddies told me, you know what, man, let's go downtown. They're going crazy. From that day forward, you know what I'm saying? I was just a diehard black and gold fan, and why would I pick any other team? You know what I'm saying? So I just had to do it.
Bob?
Arthur, you talked about you talked about going through the draft process and everything like that, and you hear a lot of rookies say how fast the game was, how much faster the game was than what they expected coming out of college, and you know we were all rooting for you. I know you and I had some conversations leading up to training camp, and I thought you had an outstanding training camp. But what was your biggest adjustment in coming into the NFL itself? I mean, what one thing, one or two things did you say, oh my God, I didn't expect that?
It's just a lot about the schemes, man. It's just a lot about the schemes. The scheme that they are, like, I never played nickel in college. I played outside, and when I did play nickel in the inside, it was just man-to-man, take them out the game. In the NFL, you have to know everything. You have to be smart. You have to know checks. You have to know if the running back goes on the other side, what you have to do. So I'd say the biggest thing was the schemes, man. It was just like, whoa, what in the world I got myself into here?
Is that where you think you've improved the most in the off season? You've had a chance to digest the playbook a little bit. I mean, we already know you're athletic enough to match up with any receiver you play up against. So do you feel that you're going to see a lot more playing time this year because you have a better feel for the scheme?
That's the plan, man. I'm coming in and telling myself either they don't have to tell me anything. You know what I'm saying? I know what to do. And it's just one word thing. Hard to do this, yes sir, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest thing with me. Just going in and doing what I'm supposed to do.
You know, Art, there was a lot made by people such as ourselves about the coaching staff, the guys coming in, and one name that was at the top of everyone's list was Aaron Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Could you speak a little bit towards how Aaron Glenn, as the secondary coach, prepared you guys for between Alan and myself? I think that we've basically kind of surmised, at least the under the dome seal of approval. We've said that the success of that defense in the 2017 season was due in no small part to the play of the secondary. Of course, you know, there's Marshawn Lattimore, there's Crawley, but you figure into that as well. Could you speak to how great a coach Aaron Glenn is in preparing you guys for what you would eventually see out there on the field?
Man, he's hands down probably the best coach I ever had in my life. He wants you to compete every day, not against the receivers, but against yourself and your teammates. That plays your position. You know what I'm saying? And just for him just doing that, and then the attitude that he brings, he makes you want to go all out and just run through a brick wall for him. You know what I'm saying? It just shows how much of a great coach he is. He's just a wonderful guy, man. He's a player's coach. At the end of the day, he's not gonna let you slack off. That would be his worst thing he wants you to do, to come in and be mediocre.
Arthur, what is it like to go up against the Saints receivers and Drew Brees in practice? We always hear about, you know, how Drew competes at everything.
Yeah.
You know, you think to yourself, okay, it's just a walkthrough. We're going to do 7-on-7. Let's see how this goes. And Drew is playing like it's the last 2 minutes of the Super Bowl, and we're down by 4. So what's it like to go out there knowing you have to face, say, a Michael Thomas and Drew Brees?
I mean, it's practice, it's work. I treat every day the same. I treat every rep like a game rep. So it's really nothing different for me. When I first got there, it was kind of like I was starstruck just going against Drew Brees just because he's destined for the city. But once I got registered to it, it's just normal. It's normal. I mean, it's work. It's a job. I want to give him the best look because I know the guys across from him playing on Sundays, they're not gonna slack off. So I mean, when he's throwing my way, I'm telling them I'm going to either pick it off or it's going to be a deflection. You know, I'm still my quarterback. But, I mean, I got to give you the best look you can get.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly it. And I'm sure you watching after practice, watching the film of your practice, and Aaron pointing out what you did and what you didn't do and so forth. I mean, it's just you're going against the best, so you can only get better every day watching this stuff.
Exactly. Just going against Mike T and Drew Brees, man, it's like a glitch, man. It's just like he throws the ball, Mike T's radius, and it's a catch, but you're still on him. It's like, how in the world did he do that? Like, how did he catch that? How did he complete that? But it's like, it's Drew Brees, and it's all pro Thomas. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have no choice but to get that.
Well, I've seen Hall of Fame cornerbacks, guys who are going to go to the Hall of Fame. talk about playing against Drew Brees, and they all say the same thing. You know, how did he even know? Because he threw the ball right where I was. How did he know where I was going to go?
One throw, I was playing the hands of Mike T, and he threw it right over my ear, just right over my ear.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, you mentioned Mike T. For all those Saints fans watching, exactly how good is Michael Thomas?
Oh man, he has no ceiling, man. He's just gonna get better every year. I mean, and then he's figuring it out day by day. You know what I'm saying? He works hard, and we're gonna push him, and I'm gonna push him, and he's only gonna get better. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we all want for each other. We want each other to get better every day. We don't want each other to slack off because we know we missed out on something very beautiful last year. We want to.
Oh, you mentioned that. You opened the door, so I'm going to step on through.
Oh, Lord. Remember this. That is more important. That's the play. Don't bring up that other play. That was the play.
The play that shall not be mentioned.
Yes.
You know, obviously, the play that shall not be mentioned, I'll mention it strictly in reference here. The Saints got close. Mm-hmm. Closer than some, not as close as others. In that locker room, how important is it among those players that you clear these obstacles and that you reach that next plateau? You go to the NFC Championship, you go to the Super Bowl, and you bring that second Lombardi home. How prevalent is that in the mind of these players moving forward?
I mean, we're going to take it 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time. But at the same day, we know our goal. You know, we have lofty goals like Cam Jordan says, you know what I'm saying? We know where we need to go. We know where we need to be. And that's what we're shooting for. You know what I'm saying? Nothing less, nothing more. But, I mean, after that play, it was just get ready for next year. We're young. We're ready. Period.
One of the things that we noticed right off the bat is this team had a unity behind it. Unlike any other Saints team, and I'm even going back to the 2011 and 2009, championship teams. 2011 was probably their best offense, but 2009, the Super Bowl team, we saw that you guys not only were strong teammates, but it seemed that y'all were having fun and y'all really liked each other. I mean, yeah, your teammates and stuff like that. And, when the game ends, you kind of go your own separate ways, go back to your own lives, and then get back together on Monday and start the process all over again. This team seemed more like a team that you guys are going to hang out Sunday night after the game. You guys are going to hang out on Saturday afternoon after practice is over with. Y'all still want to hang out and go and do something.
I mean, it's a family, man. It's a brotherhood. It's family. We put all this time together for what? To win and not enjoy it, or to win and leave each other and just go home? No, we're gonna enjoy. We're gonna enjoy every bit of and every second of it. You know what I'm saying? We work hard, we have fun, and we do it all over again. That's how that's just what we do.
Well, that video of after the Panthers wild card game, where the term "due to Sean Payton," became so well known.
Fun, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we bust our butt so much during the week that what I'm saying, when it comes to game day, that's when we show how hard we worked and we have fun doing it, man. And they love it, and we love it, and we're going to continue to do it.
Well,
I was going to ask you about Sean Payton as a coach, but I'm not going to do that because that presents video evidence. Bob,
great coach. Bottom line, great coach. Hall of Fame coach. At the end of the day,
I agree completely, 110%.
Wants the best for his team, wants the best for you. I mean, great guy. Nothing bad to say about him, so there goes the video.
Good answer. Bob, what you got, buddy?
Arthur, if you don't mind, we'll shift gears just a little bit. We obviously all of us are previewing the draft, and all you guys in the locker room have to be excited too about what kind of teammates you're going to have in the room over the next couple of days. But tell us a little bit about two guys I've been kind of watching closely as we've been previewing from your alma mater, Anthony Miller, the receiver from Memphis, and of course Riley Ferguson, the quarterback. Talk about, if you don't mind, talk about those two guys and what they're going to bring to the league. And is there anybody else on that Memphis roster that we should really be keeping our fingers crossed at the Saints draft?
I mean, man, Ant Miller and Riley Ferguson, grit, man. You come from Memphis. We work hard. We're going to bring in hard work. They're not going to take the opportunity for granted. It's a yes coach mentality. Whatever the coach tells them to do, they're going to do it. And then they're gonna grind 24/7. You know what I'm saying? They want to win. You know what I'm saying? Underdog mentality. They want to win. So I mean, Ant Miller has no ceiling. Also, man, he reminds me of Antonio Brown. He's a sleeper. I wouldn't be surprised if whoever gets in, they're gonna get a steal. Hopefully it's us. hopefully it's us. That man right there, hard worker, gonna work his butt off, and he's gonna do whatever you tell him to do. Not like a receiver as a don't want on kickoff. He's gonna run down on kickoff and go hit something. That's what he wants to do. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want him to do, he'll do it. Riley Ferguson, great learner, learns fast. Turned the team around from my senior year to his last year. You know what I'm saying?
Sure did.
I was just like, wow, boy.
I watched Riley play against UCLA last year, the matchup against Josh Rosen. Yeah. And I was totally amazed at
reminds me of Big Ben.
He showed a lot of poise. He was not intimidated at all by the UCLA on those other guys' helmets.
He feels like he's the best. Why should he be intimidated? The way they work out there, I mean, they feel like they're the best, whoever you are. Power 5.
Absolutely.
So, definitely.
Yeah.
Alan?
Arthur, you mentioned that you started in the JUCO route after Bonneville. How did you end up over at Memphis?
Oh, man. Coach Shebus, I was catching punts in junior college practice, and this old guy just comes up to me like, you got to put your arms together. I'm just like, what?
No, that wasn't me out there.
Yeah, I'm like, you touch the ball perfectly fine. He's like, okay. You got a little swag about yourself. And I just those guys were just on me more than just watching me, telling me what I wanted to hear. They were telling me what I needed to work on.
Yes. So
I don't care what Power 5 team came. I don't care what other school came. If you're small and you're telling me what I need to work on truthfully, then I feel like that's the best for me.
I had a coach tell me one time, he said, you have incredible speed. How do you feel about returning punts? And I said, the devil is real. Of course,
one of a kind thing right there.
Arthur, you make all things considered, you kind of make a living out of studying quarterbacks. The hot topic of the day seems to be the big four: Mason Rudolph, Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold. Is there anything about any of these four guys that you see on film or that you've seen as these games have played out? Is there anything that you have seen on these guys that make you believe that any of them is any better than any of the others?
I'm gonna be truthful with you. I mean, I'm not gonna knock any of their games, but I'm too busy watching Drew Brees trying to tear me apart at practice. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I had much time watching this year. So I mean, best of luck to those guys. I know they're going to get the opportunity to play on Sundays, and that's all that matters. But I mean, Josh Rosen, I heard he has an arm. The guy from Wyoming, what's his name?
Josh Allen.
Yeah, he's a gunslinger. So, I mean, I know they got some pretty good guys in the draft that's supposed to do some big things. Hopefully they can help a couple teams out and be successful.
Josh Allen can throw it through a barn wall if he can find it.
Not quite that bad, but yeah.
Hey, man, I sit up all last night making up that joke.
There you go.
You got to give me a little credit.
You know, Arthur, we hear about this a lot, about the compartmentalization of football and the love of your routine when you play in the NFL. Mm-hmm. From August until January, are you really – how easy is it just to be locked in on your job, your responsibility, and just kind of get all the distractions out of the way? I mean, not looking at social media, not read the newspapers or anything, not hear any of the noise. Just focus on your job. How difficult is that to prepare like that every week?
I mean, you gotta think about it. Like, it wasn't difficult for me because of the teammates I had. We spent so much time together. We really wasn't worried about social media. Mm-hmm. We'll look at each other. We'll tell each other, "Oh, come on, you're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. Make sure you're focused." When you have brothers like that that's going to tell you the truth and want the best for you, then the season goes by so fast. You're like, dang, it's over already? Mm-hmm. Can we have like 2-3 more games? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm just blessed to have good teammates like that, man. And that wants the best interest for you. And we want the best interest for them. So it just goes hand to hand.
Well, just for the record, that's the way that I felt after the Minnesota game. Can we just have 2 or 3 more games?
Yeah. Well, that's funny because they talk about the rookie wall that players hit because you're used to that 10-game schedule. You finish about Thanksgiving time. And in the NFL, you still have a whole another month. And if you go to the playoffs, that's another 6 weeks. So what did you feel, or did you see any of the players seem to hit a kind of a rookie wall? Not so much not being able to push through, but just kind of like, oh man, I'm beat right now.
Me, Marshawn, and Marcus was like, man, this is real. We didn't think this was gonna happen. Like, week like 12, we're just like, what rookie wall? We're all right. We ain't worrying about nothing. Man, when the playoffs are you for real? I mean, but it just shows that you have to take care of your body, man. Mm-hmm. Take care of your body, and you have to be a pro. You have to be a pro at taking care of yourself off the field, not just on the field. So that was the biggest thing we learned, and we're gonna attack this year even harder and even better, and we're gonna feel good about it.
And how would you describe the intensity level? And I'm going to go to you right after this, Bob. But how would you describe the intensity level kicking up a notch, like they say in the media, from the regular season to the postseason?
Everything matters. Special teams, offense, defense. All phases matter. It matters in the regular season, trust me. But everything's magnified in the playoffs. One mistake and you can lose a game. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just you want to be mistake-free and you want to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. The game's not going to be perfect, but you want to shoot for it. You shoot for it, you have a pretty good chance of winning.
Okay. Bob, do you have any questions?
Yeah, one of the things I like about your game, love about your game, Arthur, is that you have terrific man-to-man capabilities. I mean, you can athletically match up with just about anybody you line up across. But you also, and I think Sean pointed it out earlier, you're also a great study of the quarterback, the direction he's throwing the ball, and you have great ball reaction skills too. I think it's one of the reasons why you fit so well into Dennis Allen and Aaron Glenn's scheme. I guess my question for you is, do you have a preference? Would you rather line up in the face of the receiver you're going up against, or would you rather play off the ball a little bit and kind of bait the quarterback into a hopeful mistake?
The young Arthur would say, I want to line up in his face. But, I mean, when you have Coach AG and BA, man, it's like you learn so much. You're just like, man, it doesn't matter. It just depends on what scheme we're running or who am I playing against. I'll play off. And if I feel like I can read that quarterback more and with the route schemes or the schemes they're running, I'm just like, man, let me play off and let me go pick something. Or let me go take them out of the game because there's going to be a lot of quick throws. You know what I'm saying? So just learning a little bit of little things that from those guys it does wonders.
Arthur,
you guys are basically on. Sorry, Sean.
I'm sorry, Bob. Go ahead.
And you kind of said it before. You, Marshawn, Marcus, you all came into the league last year. and Kenny Crawley and Von Bell had only been in there a year before that. So you guys are basically all growing up together. Do you guys have a say in the position meeting rooms when you're looking at film? Do you guys have a say with your coaches about this is the way we'd like to play these guys this coming week?
Like I said, through Coach AG, he's a player coach. He's going to ask what we're comfortable with playing with. Y'all want to go press, or how do y'all want to play this? If y'all play it this way, make sure y'all look out for this, this, and this. Because at the end of the day, it's on you guys. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how young we are, it doesn't matter. If you say you want to play it like this week, play it like this and perfect it during practice. And that's what we do.
Wow.
That's great to hear. That really is, because I think giving you guys that level of control, you take ownership of the plays out there. You take ownership of the defense, and that's important because you're not machines. You need to be able to feel like you've got control over this, and and if a mistake happens, it's not, well, I did what they told me to do. Exactly. It's on me. I made the mistake.
That's something that I think Alan and Bob can speak to this. Something that on the outside looking in that has been lacking for so many years on this defense is accountability. Mm-hmm. That's my job. That was my guy. That was that was my fault.
Yeah.
And I don't like to call out names, but in the Rob Ryan years, that wasn't happening. It was always somebody else's fault.
Well, and again, comparing the two defenses, what for a defense that had so many young players, so many first-year and second-year players, I really, except for maybe the first two games of the season, we all still feeling each other out. You really saw those mental mistakes. I mean, I know y'all guys made mistakes and plays happen and everyone does it, but you didn't see the blown coverages and where, two guys looking at each other like, I thought that was your man. I thought that was my man. It just didn't happen like that. And that's amazing for a young defense, especially a young secondary, to see how well you guys handled your responsibilities.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, it's accountability, man. He's, like I said, at the beginning of the week, he's asking us how we want to play this. And if you're comfortable with playing it that way, and it happens and you mess up during the game, it's your fault.
Yeah.
It's our fault. And as in our fault, it's everybody's fault in the secondary. And we don't want that. At the end of the day, on the back end, you can't make a mistake. It's only so. Honest
to God, I almost saw Kenny Vaccaro punch P.J. Williams in the throat one game, but we're not going to. We're not going to encourage dissension.
No. Did you have a favorite game last year? A game where after it was over with, you're like, man, that was some hell of a game that we just played. Win or lose? I mean. Did y'all have a favorite game, or do you have a favorite game from this past season?
That Redskins game, out of there.
Yeah,
we won. Let's go. That was the one, man. That was the one. Yeah. The Redskins game.
I was at that game, and it was funny because when y'all were down, 17 points, I think it was, late in the fourth quarter. And a friend of mine got up and she and her husband left. And they're just like, it's not our day and stuff like that. And as that comeback started, the crowd just kept getting louder and louder and louder. And I tell people this all the time when you watch the replay. When Alvin Kamara gets the 2-point conversion, as soon as that pitch goes to Kamara, you can hear the crowd just roaring because they all know he's getting it. Yeah. They're not going to get into the corner, and that was when you tie the game, and it just was unbelievable the energy that was in the dome. So yeah, that was probably my favorite game of the season too.
I won the Carolina game, my first playoff game.
I don't know if this violates any kind of league regulations, but I'll give you $1 if you'll smack Cam Newton right in his face. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Man.
Seriously, Arthur, moving forward, I realize we're on the precipice of this draft, and we don't have any kind of idea as to the way these teams will upgrade and move forward from this point. But being the defending NFC South champions, how do you see this division shaking out in the 2018 season? Do you see? And I realize I'm putting you on the spot, and I apologize for that, but that's why they pay you the big bucks. How do you see this division shaking out in the 2018 season?
I mean, shoot, our division is tough, man. Our division is tough, but at the end of the day, I want us to win. At the end of the day, I'm not going to say, "Oh no, I want Carolina." No.
Man after my own heart.
We want to repeat what we did last year and be even better. So we want to win this division, and every day we got to get better, and that's our goal. So we want to be on top again.
Just for the record, and I feel like I need to do this because we're talking with an active roster player. I am the only person on our 2-hour season premiere episode that airs the last Tuesday before the season starts. I'm the only person of the 975 guests that we had that night that picked the New Orleans Saints to win the division.
Smart man.
That's right.
Smart
If
man.
you go, guys, wait a minute now. Come on. If you go back and check the tapes, and I don't remember what it was on the show. I said not only that they'd win the division, but I predicted a record of 11-5.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
Yeah,
did. I will give little brother credit. You very much did that.
I was not the true believer on this show. I have to admit that, But y'all, I was, hey, I'm old enough. Thanks to Sean giving away my age a couple weeks ago, I'm old enough to remember, the really bad days. So believe me, you guys are so much fun. Yeah, you guys are so much more fun to watch compared to what I was looking at, 30, 40 years ago. It was
Arthur,
horrible.
you're talking to two guys that remember the Billy Kilmer. The paper bags were much later. We remember the Jim Taylor. We remember the Saints before Archie Manning ever played for the Saints.
My first game was probably in '72 when I was in Tulane Stadium. I was a little kid. My dad took me to Tulane Stadium, so I don't have much memories other than just being wild that I was outside of the stadium watching a football game. So yeah, I'm an old man. Arthur, when you're not playing football, I understand you have a clothing line that you've been working on since you've been in college. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh man, it's called Eat Greedy. It's like athletic gear. My nickname is Greedy because I do everything overboard. I guess they would like to say. So it's just something that it's a mentality that you go about every day. Whatever you want to do, you want to do it to the fullest of your ability. It's nice athletic gear, man. I've been pushing out, and it's coming out pretty good actually, man. Got a new design dropping in probably like 2 weeks. Got a website coming up in the app, so it's gonna be pretty cool.
Good deal. And what you said it's athletic line. So is it shirts? Is it shorts? Shoes?
We're working on just tops right now, shirts. Soon, this summer, I'm going to probably have a summer camp with it. We're going to do 7-on-7 for the kids. We're going to have like a couple games. It's going to be pretty cool, man. Just working on a lot of stuff, a lot of nonprofit stuff. I'm going to try to make some shirts just for the homeless under the bridge just because I'm from here. So, just a lot of things that.
It's not under the bridge. It's under the dome, baby.
Oh, no. I know exactly what he's talking about on North Claiborne Avenue. So believe me, I see it. Like I said, I work downtown. So, yeah, I know full well what he's talking about.
I was just trying to get a product plug, man.
There you go. And you also have a a gym that you started up.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's called Architect. It's a personal training gym. If you want to get personal trained, we'll give you a great price. If you want to lose some weight, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to target, we're very flexible. It's off on Howard Avenue by Xavier, by the service road, by the highway. It's really nice. Small gym right now, something personal where you don't have everybody in your business if you have insecurity. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. You get some good work there.
Okay, it's not CrossFit though, right?
No, whatever you want to do. No CrossFit.
Arthur, I am being bombarded by people on our live chat. Are you on Twitter?
Someone hacked my Twitter. I will make another Twitter for you guys right now.
Okay.
No problem.
Once again, Arthur, I want to thank you so very much for being our very first active roster player that has ever had the infinite wisdom and foresight to see the rising star that Under the Dome is. God, I need a shovel. I'm shoveling it.
I'd say so.
Seriously, it's real easy to get where you're going and revel in all that you have earned, and we've encountered a lot of that, but it's not so easy to get to the point where you realize that there's a lot of people that are standing there watching you doing what you're doing, and 37 jerseys.
It's an honor, man.
We are sincere and devoted fans of not only yourself but of the New Orleans Saints, and my entire life is dedicated. My son's name is Drew.
Oh.
Arthur, can you tell us how people can follow you on social media?
Okay, yeah, my Instagram name, Arthur Maulet _, Facebook, Arthur Maulet, and Twitter is going to be Arthur Maulet _. I'll make it for you guys within 10 minutes. Y'all go follow me. First 50 people to follow me, I'm going to get you guys a beauty band just for y'all, man. Just got y'all, man. I'll see some of y'all.
I'll tell you what, I'll trade you an Under the Dome shirt for a neat greedy shirt. How about that?
There you go. There you go. Well, Arthur, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Bob, do you have any final words for him?
Arthur, like we mentioned earlier, you and I have had some chats before. I have been I got hacked on Facebook, so I've been Facebook assassinated. But I'm hoping I'm hoping to get back in touch with you soon. I've been a big fan ever since you did come out of college. Looking for big things this year. Happy to meet you face to face. But yeah, thank you so much for giving us a chance tonight.
Appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you guys. It's an honor being on the show, man. First active guy. Anytime you need me on my call, I'm not going to get too big-headed, man.
There you go. There you go. That's the best thing. Arthur, best of luck this upcoming season. We'll be pulling for you and be watching for you all training camps. And best of luck making the roster again. Hopefully, you get a lot more playing time than you got in your rookie year. I think you've grown, and I think you are really, it's just all up for you now. The arrow's pointing up.
Yes, sir. That's the plan. That's the plan. Big year coming, man. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on my new tour that I'm gonna make for y'all. Just because y'all said somewhere Under the Dome, it's coming.
Okay. Well, thank you, Arthur. Appreciate it.
I hope that we can have you back sometime very, very soon because
whenever y'all want me, I'm here.
If for no other reason you wear number 37, and I have a handy jersey for that.
Whenever y'all ready, man, I'm here.
Thank you so much, Arthur.
Thank y'all for having me.
All right. Peace out. All right, guys. Well, it is 7:50. That was very cool. I'll tell you
I'm
what.
sorry if this was like a wrestling program. The term that people would use was I am totally marked out right now. Guys, for any of our normal and regular fans,
what does that mean?
MARKED.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to figure what the hell that means.
I'll explain it to you later. It's wrestling terms.
Yeah.
Danny could probably help you with that.
Yeah, he probably could.
You guys have no idea.
We have a Bucks fan who just snuck in.
I do don't understand what we're talking about. So,
the pirate ship just shot over the bow.
I'm telling you.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, David?
Doing great. It was a great interview, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Oh God, that was almost like in unison.
Well, you know what? That was a lot of fun having an active player actually come on the show and talk about what it's like.
I almost didn't get any sleep last night, and I'm saying this for our regular followers. I almost didn't get any sleep last night worrying about how this interview is going to go. And even though he's gone and he's not here to hear the praise, I can't thank Arthur enough for joining us. I sweated this big time, as Bob can probably attest to. This was something that meant a great deal to me. This was something that on my short list of goals for the first year of Under the Dome, one of those goals that I did not achieve was having an active roster player being a guest on our show, and now I can cross that off. And not just cross it off, I can X it off because he's wearing number 37.
All right. Good God, man. Well, I think I'm going to get David back on because we're going to try and talk Michael Thomas into getting on this show. And I think David would really enjoy having a chance to talk to Michael Thomas.
The Seagull Commander is among us.
Here we go.
Man, I made that comment in passing, and it has become his Twitter handle.
I love it.
I saw that. I know.
Come on, I love it. That's awesome.
Oh, man. I was like, what the hell? That's a good deal.
I am a trendsetter. What can I say?
The crazy thing is he's out at beaches, like actually trying to command like seagulls. It's crazy.
Oh, man.
If he talks to seagulls, have him committed.
What's up, guys?
For our
going,
regular viewers, right now is somewhat sort of a transition time. We're going to switch gears now. We're going to move from the interview with Arthur Maulet. We're going to kind of transition into our second half of the show, which will be our live mock first round of the draft. We're trying to transition all the guests in.
And we're going to have people drop it in left and right. So, just watch on the screen. People just start popping up. I expect my son any minute now. I know he's been thinking about this all day. Instead of paying attention in class,
he was talking trash to David earlier.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Wait, David Harrison, our David?
Yes, our David.
I gotta teach him some manners. You don't talk trash.
What was he saying?
I mean, I'll pick on Tampa Hate Week, but I respect David far too much for his draft knowledge. I tell you, he's one of the best out there, and that's not to diminish anybody else out here, but David really knows his stuff, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
He does. I take a great amount of pride in calling David one of our own. That means a whole lot to me, and it's something very special to me to see not only David but Bob Rose, Tyler Raymond, all these guys that we've had on our show multiple times, Rick Suarez and the Seagull Commander. I have to correct my notes now because I have Toots. I can say
I am no longer known by Toots. Simply the Seagull Commander.
SG, baby. Suffice it to say, you guys have no idea the amount of the amount of pride that I feel in my heart, knowing that you guys came on with us, and you've not only developed your own brand, but you've expanded it to new heights, so to speak.
Depths.
Are we talking about their Twitter stuff or their beer? Because that's the big stuff. We want to talk about the beer.
We are enjoying ourselves a cold one.
There you go.
Here you go, man. There's not much left because Arthur made me really nervous.
You guys did a great job.
Yeah, great job, though.
Thank you. Okay.
It felt really good going in. And like I said, I can't thank Arthur enough for being available and being transparent, giving us a good interview.
Okay.
Here's to you, brother.
Question for the room. Who's left that we're missing before we get started on the draft itself?
We're still waiting on Josh Schultz, who will be handling the NFC South.
Okay, Andrew just jumped in.
Andrew Wiedemann is joined us. He will be covering the AFC West. Andrew, how are you, brother?
Doing great.
Okay, so who is picking for the AFC North?
That'd be me.
Bob Rose.
Oh, good. So we can start with the Cleveland Browns then. All right.
I have 13 seconds to screw this up.
Well, I see you have the Steelers shirt on, so yeah, I can see how well you're going to pick for the Browns.
Well, I dressed in costume last year. Growing up a Broncos and Saints fan, I had an Elway shirt for the draft last year. This is the only Steelers shirt I own, which, of course, being from Pittsburgh, I get an earful from all my friends and family. But this is the best that I can do to dress the part this year.
Okay. Wah. Lauren made you wear it, didn't she?
I'd have heard from her.
Oh, hell. You get a
Before we get started, I want to thank everyone. The new guys, Andrew, the Saint Craft Radio.
Got it.
I have to slowly enunciate that or I'll slur it all over the place. We want to thank everyone that is participating and welcome also Jake Arthur from Blue Stampede.
Is he hearing us? Hello.
Yeah, I thought Jake Arthur just checked in.
Yeah, no. Jake's here.
Okay.
He's just giving me enough room to make myself look stupid.
Just want to make sure. I just want to make sure everybody can hear one another. Because with so many people on at one time, I just want to make sure we have no problems as we go through with this. Last year we had someone from England last year. Remember that, Sean?
Stu Court.
Yes, and
he was covering the NFC West.
Yes, and he had a lot of problems not only with the delay, but also that he couldn't hear everything we were saying. So.
But he had such a cool accent, we couldn't leave him out.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to make sure everybody can hear us tonight. So,
this is live TV. We want to thank our fans for joining us and sticking around for the sound check portion of the show.
Absolutely.
Are we all good? Are we ready? Let's see.
Okay.
Jake didn't have a good connection.
No, that's what I was afraid of. Okay, so what we're going to do first, before we get started...
we're still missing Josh.
Yeah, and Tyler Raymond said he was coming in later, and we're missing Matt. So what I'd like for everybody to do, kind of introduce who each of us, who we are, and what what we're going to represent. So, like, I'm Andrew, and I'm representing the AFC West, and so forth, because that way people kind of get an idea of what's going on. Okay, Jake's back.
All right. Yeah, Jake's back.
Okay.
By my count, we're only missing 2.
All right.
I'll start the introductions.
There we go.
Beginning with the AFC West, one of my former proteges from the Pro Football Spot, and this is our annual draft show, or as some people have called it, the PFS reunion show. I want to introduce to you guys a former guy that followed the AFC West Denver Broncos, Andrew Wiedemann.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. I'll be drafting for the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chargers, and the Chiefs don't have a first-round draft pick, so won't be drafting for them today.
As a Broncos fan, I'm impressed you said Raiders without spitting.
Nice.
Welcome, Andrew. We're glad to have you. Drafting for the NFC West, we have our local friends, buddies. I'm not going to call them relatives because, that would be kind of creepy. But the guys from St. Craft Radio, Mr. Rick Suarez, and the Seagull Commander, Mr. Toots.
We're not too local.
Yeah, hey guys, what's up? We're the guys from St. Craft Radio. We're going to be drafting for the NFC West, except for the Rams, who traded their first round pick. So we got 3 teams.
Forgot who they traded. Who they traded that to?
Neither here nor there.
Somebody.
Oh my God! We're discussing draft strategy as the clock starts.
Well, that's okay.
We'll be here for the NFC West, and appreciate the invite and pleasure being on with all you guys.
Nice to meet everyone.
Awesome.
I think the Rams traded everything away, so they're not drafting. They went full George Allen on us.
Oh yeah.
Covering the AFC North with the first pick in the draft and several to follow thereafter, we have Mr. Bob Rose, who all of you are familiar with. He spent the first hour with us with Arthur Maulet, and he also covers the Saints for Canal Street Chronicles. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you very much, and thank you for everybody that's tuning in, and hi to everybody on panel. I will be screwing up 2 draft picks for the Cleveland Browns.
No worse than they will.
Yeah, you can't do any worse than them. So.
Drafting for the Baltimore Ravens, drafting the latest convict for the Cincinnati Bengals, and drafting for my hometown Pittsburgh Steelers.
There we go.
Covering the NFC. Well, let me see. Covering the AFC South, a former mentor of mine. As in a year ago, I want to take this opportunity to thank the man for all that he did for me to help me get started in the business. Mr. Jake Arthur from Stampede Blue.
Hey, what's up, guys? Very glad to be here with you. Thank you for those kind words, Sean. Great to be back with some of my old PFS cohorts here and to rejoin all you guys for the second annual live show again. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Glad to have you.
Covering the NFC North, which is a bit of a departure for one of our former proteges. He covers the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the Pewter Plank and Locked On Bucks podcast, Mr. David Harrison.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on here. Excited to do this. I'll be covering, like you said, the Bears, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Lions. They're all taking Bradley Chubb, so we'll just get out of the way right now.
That's about right. Yep.
Let me see. Covering the NFC East, which is the Cowboys, Redskins, Eagles, and Giants. Yeah. a contributor to the Under the Dome podcast, Mr. Matt Ulrich. And despite popular belief, he is not a rat bastard.
No, he's the illegitimate child of a rodent, but we just leave it from that. Go ahead.
I didn't say that.
How's everyone doing today?
Doing good, doing good.
Yeah, it's not to choose the NFC East this time. Let someone else have the distinction of drafting for the Saints. But I will say this. I was half right on the 11th pick. It was an Ohio State defensive back, just not Connolly. It was Lattimore.
We got a much better pick. All right, Sean, we have one last one introduced.
I'm trying to get Josh connected now. Oh, they covering the AFC East. We have longtime friend and of this entire panel. I think maybe this was probably our first guest, Mr. John Butler.
Yes,
I don't know if I was. I don't know if I was your first. I was in there pretty early, but I'm the guy on the panel that doesn't have the podcast.
You're the one.
Yeah, I'm the guy. I am covering the AFC East. I've got 6 chances to screw this thing up, so I'm looking forward to throwing all you guys off.
Absolutely. Well, I love your reviews of the podcast. So I miss them. You haven't done them.
It's been a while. I got to get back. Got to get back into it.
I always thought was one of my favorite things to do. In fact, I got to the point where I was starting to add things, saying, "I want John to talk about this, tomorrow." And there's 3 things he learned. I'm gonna give him something good to talk about.
Well, just for the record, it made me up my game because I was like, all he ever talks about is Allen. He never says anything about Sean. The only time he ever mentioned Sean is Sean told Allen this.
Yeah,
and I was like, I got to get off my ass and I got to do something here.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Good. Keep talking about me. I like that better. No ego involved. No ego involved. Okay. Go ahead, Sean.
All right, Josh. Are we? Josh?
Yes.
Oh wow!
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can see you.
Yes.
Right.
There we go.
It said Amber. You don't look like Amber.
I don't. I had to use her computer. Sorry, guys.
Covering the NFC South up to and not including the New Orleans Saints because y'all got to understand that Josh covers the Falcons. My hypocrisy only goes so far. I could not allow a Falcons guy to pick for the New Orleans Saints. Tyler Raymond, which is from Who Dat Dish and Who Dat Dish podcast, is going to be picking for the Saints. But covering the rest of the NFC South, which is the Falcons, Buccaneers, and oh man, I drew a blank. Panthers. That's what I meant to say.
The team the Saints own, the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Covering those teams will be Josh Schultz. Josh, how are you doing tonight, brother?
Good. How are you guys?
Awesome.
Very good. Very good. Looking forward to this season, I'll tell you what. Okay. So the way this works is basically what we talked about this before. We're just going to do this draft straight through, assuming no trades, because we don't need to get into all that. We're just going to go, as of today, the draft order. So that would be, Cleveland all the way down to Philadelphia. There's no trades involved.
I'm looking at the official draft order as we speak. I will announce Allen is the commissioner. He will tell you, Minnesota, your clock has expired. Boo.
Yes.
He pays your tuition, dude.
You're supposed to be right?
Yeah. I'm a better commish. But anyway.
And no one will be a rat bastard this year.
No. The other thing we want to make sure and do is when you make your pick for your player, basically introduce it by saying, listen, picking for, let's just say the Cleveland Browns is the first one. The Cleveland Browns have weaknesses at quarterback, running back, all across the board. We want to build our franchise behind, say, a running back, so we're taking Barkley from Penn State. And that's basically all you have to do. No long, drawn-out explanations, just a rationalization why you're making the pick you're making. And we should go through this pretty quickly. Is anybody having a problem with that kind of format?
Nope. No, I mean, I was going to announce that the Cleveland Browns trade their first overall pick to the Cleveland Browns for the 4th overall pick.
Yeah. I might need at least an hour per pick. I like that. I like that. I like that. Be like the real draft. All right. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get started unless we have any questions or anything like that.
That's great.
That's perfect.
Oh my God.
David. Thank you, David.
With the first pick. Oh wait, well, I'm not sure of the protocol here.
No, I'll go ahead and
the
start.
Cleveland Browns are on the clock.
Yes.
Cheers.
All right. Well, picking for the Cleveland Browns with the first overall pick. We've seen mock drafts go all over the place. They've seemingly signed everybody in the offseason that the Rams didn't trade for. But the one thing that keeps popping up, they don't have a quarterback. Tyrod Taylor is not going to be the quarterback for this franchise, certainly not in the long term. Now, having said that, the best player, I believe, on the offensive side of the ball in this draft is running back Saquon Barkley from Penn State. And if I'm in the Cleveland Browns draft room, I know that there's a couple quarterbacks that are going to fall to me just a few minutes from now. So I'm going to run up to the podium, and my first pick is going to be running back Saquon Barkley from Penn State.
Totally agree.
Do you know how hard it was for me to go this entire 2 weeks that since I gave you the AFC North, how hard it was for me not to say, dude, you need to pick Barkley at number 1.
Yeah, I'm not the one you need to be telling.
Okay.
I really have nothing to add to that because I believe that if everything's done as it should be, that is absolutely a foolproof pick. Which means that's probably not the one that they'll take.
Yeah,
Exactly.
They'll probably draft Rashid Green or someone like that. All right, so number 2, the New York Giants are now on the clock. Matt, where do you see the Giants going with Barkley off the board?
Yeah, because from what I've been hearing, the Giants really wanted Saquon Barkley. They really wanted him to be the home run back. So, but they have other needs. I think, for me, probably the best run by they could get was Stoney Mitchell from Georgia. And probably the second biggest need is edge rusher after trading Jason Pierre-Paul to the Buccaneers. And I know David claimed dibs on this. So with the second overall pick, the New York Giants select Bradley Chubb from NC State.
I'm leaving. I'm out.
I warned you, David. Because Giants don't need a quarterback. They do need an edge rusher, though.
Absolutely.
I like that pick, actually.
Okay, so with Chubb off the board now, the Jets are on the clock. That's probably the most common saying the commissioner ever has to say. But the Jets are now on the clock. So picking for the AFC East, where do you see the Jets going?
All right. As far as the Jets' needs, I think it would probably be quicker for me to list the things that they don't need.
Is it possible to draft a coach?
Yeah, there we go.
That's a good place to start. I would say, well, obviously they gave up a king's ransom just to move from 6 to 3. So their number one sights are set on a quarterback. I had some discussions with Sean earlier, talking about possibly going Mayfield.
Follow your heart, baby. Follow your heart.
With Sam Darnold sitting on the top of the draft, he seems like the most pro-ready guy. I'm going to go with Sam Darnold and take him off the board.
Oh man.
Interesting. I think they go quarterback here too. Now, who they go with, I'm not sure, but I think Sam Darnold is a good choice for the Jets.
I really wanted to go Mayfield because, partly because he seems to have a lot of the tools, and there's such a groundswell around here to get Mayfield on the Jets. And then also, Joe Namath hates him, and I can't stand Joe Namath. So to piss Joe Namath off would be fantastic.
Well, I'm going to give my reflection after we complete this first round.
There you go.
Moving on to number 4. At number 4, the Cleveland Browns are on the clock. And Mr. Rose, what say you? Apparently, there are UFOs landing on the roof.
I think so.
One of the reasons why, as the Browns, I went with Barkley with the first pick is because I was too afraid that he wouldn't make it to me at number 4. Another big need for this team, huge need for this team, is quarterback, like I mentioned a minute ago. And I really like Darnold for this franchise, and I think in the real world, the Browns could grab him at number 1. But I knew that waiting for a quarterback for number 4, I knew I was going to lose at least one of these guys. And you see this kid's name fluctuate anywhere from potential number 1 overall pick to drop into 11 or 12. But I really, of the quarterbacks left, I really like his potential as a pro quarterback. So with the 4th overall pick, Cleveland Browns are going to select quarterback Rosen from UCLA.
Oh, man, why can't you just pick prostate surgery? I'm sorry, did the mics pick that up?
Yeah, Mike is still on that one, Sean.
Poor kid. May never be heard from again. Okay, so now we're with the Denver Broncos. He picked Josh Rosen, quarterback from UCLA. So we've had 2 quarterbacks go, a running back and a defensive end. Where do the Denver Broncos go here, Andrew?
Well, most mock drafts have the Broncos going either quarterback or trading out of the pick. But the thing they don't address is that the Broncos allowed the 3rd most sacks in 2017, and the best offensive lineman in the draft is Quentin Nelson out of Notre Dame, and I think that's who they should select in this year's draft.
Wow. Awesome. That's a safe and a good pick. It's not a sexy pick,
no,
but it's what they need. It really is. And I agree with this pick. I like this pick a lot because I think that's what the Broncos need to do. Start building this team. Build it around the new running game, a new quarterback, and you can get your quarterback later on. So Nelson's off the board. Now we have the Colts. Where would the Colts go from here? I mean, you've got Andrew Luck, which, by the way, for those of you who may not follow this on Twitter, you owe it to yourself to follow Captain Andrew Luck on Twitter. That has got to be one of the greatest Twitter pages I have ever read in my life. Yes, Captain Andrew Luck has been oiling his rifle with squirrel oil, and he is proud of his new commander. But does Captain Andrew Luck actually lead the Colts this year, or do they start looking at a quarterback maybe to replace him because they're worried he's not going to come back? Because it's really sketchy right now, the details about, what's his rehab schedule like.
All right, so with Andrew, it's really not as doom and gloom as it sounds. I mean, whenever there's a lack of news and information out there, people kind of automatically assume the worst. Right now, he's participating with the team in OTAs. They've been working on regaining his arm strength lately, just kind of rebuilding his arm and mechanics from the ground up. Because basically, if he needed to throw a football right now, he could. But they want him to be able to withstand the entire workload and rigors of an NFL season that any other quarterback deals with. So that's just what it is. It looks a lot worse than it actually is. He's been throwing balls heavier than actual footballs, just working on getting his strength there. So really, they don't have as pressing need for a quarterback as some might think.
Okay. So where do you see the Colts going then?
From here, don't know if everyone is aware, but the Colts are actually switching to this year from their old 3-4, and they're going to overhaul their entire linebacking core. With Bradley Chubb off the board, that's kind of the dream pick because they do need help at edge rusher. But the next logical pick here is Roquan Smith from Georgia. He's an absolute field commander, the type of guy that they'll need. Sideline to sideline range. His movement skills are excellent. They're looking for speed and athleticism with this new group, especially on defense, and he pretty much fits exactly what they're looking for to a team.
That's a great pick. He is one of the best. In fact, he is the best linebacker on the board. You've got a guy who can play inside and outside, and he would do well in a 4-3 scheme. Probably as either your weak side linebacker, or you could probably put him in the middle and be a quarterback of your defense. So I like the pick a lot.
Yeah, General Manager Chris Ballard the other day at his pre-draft press conference said that they basically consider their Mike and their Will both as middle linebackers, and those are their two linebackers that will kind of see the most amount of time on the field. So they're really looking to try and get two really good linebackers. Whether he plays Mike or Will, they kind of see those guys in the same role anyway. So in this defense, at least, that should be pretty interchangeable.
Perfect. Okay, so now we come to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Where does Tampa go? I mean, how does this draft falling so far for Tampa? Do you think
David's just going to have a cerebral hemorrhage, I think.
Well, he lost out on Chubb. We've seen two quarterbacks come off the board. We saw a left tackle come off the board. So where does Tampa go from here?
Ooh, I can name that tune in one note.
This would be my pick, right? This is me, David. I thought so. Okay, just wanted to make sure. So I would say at this point, if it really fell this way, I think the Bucs would be fielding probably a ton of trade offers to move back as teams try to come up for Mayfield or Allen. So ideally, for a team that has a whole bunch of needs, they'd probably want to move back in this scenario, but we're not doing that. So I'd say with the 7th pick, the Bucs can go ahead and take Minkah Fitzpatrick from the University of Alabama.
Nice pick.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good pick. That is a good pick.
Yeah, they have some needs in the secondary. He can play corner. He can play safety. He's kind of a guy that maybe is a little more stronger playing inside against the slot, maybe more so than outside. But really good ball skills, really good instinct, and can really make some big plays in their secondary for Mike Smith as a defensive coordinator.
I noticed you managed to say the name Mike Smith without spitting, so that's good too. We're showing progress around here.
We're trying. Try to forgive him, a little bit.
Baby steps. Baby steps.
There we go. David, do you approve? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
I don't like Minkah Fitzpatrick for the Buccaneers.
Imagine that.
I kind of feel like he's good at just about everything. You know what I mean? Like the pick does make sense from a skill set and a team match and a team need standpoint. But I think right now the Buccaneers really need a guy that's going to come in and plug a specific hole, not be someone they have to figure out in training camp. And to me, Minkah Fitzpatrick is too much of he could do a lot of things, but we don't know what he's going to do, which really impacts the rest of the draft class in a way the Buccaneers don't need. So, I'll just leave it.
Okay. I think it's a good pick, but that's me. No, I totally get what you're saying. Both rationales are very good. I agree totally. I think Tampa would try and trade down from there.
Yeah, definitely.
But Fitzpatrick fits where he was selected in the top 10. He's a top 10 player, so I agree with both sides. Okay, so we have Chicago.
Mr. Schultz.
Chicago Bears.
Wait a minute.
Where
Mr.
are-
Harrison. Why did I say Schultz?
Yeah.
Mr. Harrison, the Bears are on the clock. What say you?
Yeah, so for the Bears, for their board that I made for this, obviously guys like Bradley Chubb, Quentin Nelson were on there. Roquan Smith was also on there, as was Minka Fitzpatrick. Bottom line is, the Bears need help up front, and they need help in the pass rush in the most serious ways, and taking the best player available that can impact any of those areas. The Chicago Bears are going to take Tremaine Edmonds out of Virginia Tech.
Oh, you just killed some Saints hopes.
Well, I'll tell you what. This is the spot, I think, if this draft fell this way. I know fans don't want to hear this, but with the history of Ryan Pace and the connection to the Saints, if the Saints are going to make the move for Mayfield and he gets past Denver at 5 and he is still on the board at 8, this is where I think the Saints start making calls if they're going to go this direction and get a quarterback.
Because 2019.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Talk about
this is, I think,
your family and burning your house. And
yeah. But if you want to watch for when that move happens, it's 8 and 10 with the Raiders. Those are the two spots
Absolutely.
I can see.
I can add to that, guys.
I've told people from the get-go that I can't see the Saints trading into the top. I don't know, 5 to try to get Mayfield because it's too expensive. It affects too many drafts in the future. But I put the magic number at 8. Should Mayfield drop to number 8 or lower, they would absolutely entertain the idea of possibly trading up to get Mayfield.
They got to make the phone calls at least. Okay, so now we have the 49ers on the clock. With the 49ers pick, how do you guys see the 49ers going in this direction? Because, they've signed a quarterback of their future. They still have some needs.
Better pick a linebacker.
Yeah,
we had 2 come off the board. That's not good for the 49ers. So where do you see the Niners going here?
I think Tremaine Edmonds was where I was looking for as far as the 49ers are concerned. Another team, like you were saying, with the Bears, looking to trade down. Like you said, they already have their quarterback of the future. This is a great spot for especially for a guy like John Lynch, who last year was wheeling and dealing and making moves. I can see definitely the 49ers being one of those teams that trade down either later into the first round and start stocking up some more draft picks. But with that being said, I think for this mock draft, we're going to stick with the defense. And I think we're gonna go with Derwin James, cornerback out of Florida State. Get in there. You got Richard Sherman coming in. Hopefully he's down to help the rookie out. But again, a lot of holes on the 49ers. They got the issue with Reuben Foster still lingering. I don't see him coming back. But so I think if they don't trade down, I think they shoot for defense.
That's a good pick. It's a great pick. So far we have managed to knock out all 10 of the top 10. I'm sorry, Josh Allen is still on the board, but of Mike Detilier's top 10 players, we've got them all but Josh Allen so far off the board. So we're doing good.
Allen, who did Jake pick at number 6?
Oh, I'm sorry, Roquan Smith, the inside linebacker from Georgia. We got a tab, and I think Josh is running a tab as well. So, okay.
Let's
with
see.
the Raiders are at 10. So where do you see the Raiders going now in the AFC West? Andrew,
hang on, we got a mic issue.
You guys hear me now?
Okay, we're good.
Okay, perfect. That was my fault.
That's
Anyways.
Okay.
So the Raiders defense has been pretty terrible this past season, and their pass defense was specifically the 26th in the league. They managed to get 5 interceptions this season, good for dead last in the league. So I think that this pick should address that with Denzel Ward who's got a 4.32 40-yard dash. He can keep up with anybody, and he can flat out hit. I think that's the best pick for him right now.
I agree. That's a very Al Davis pick. Very, very much fastest player, speed, size. You know, that's a classic Al Davis kind of pick. That's what he likes. So, yeah, even though Al Davis has been gone for a while, his ghost still hangs over the Raiders. All right, so now we go to number 11, the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins,
Mr. Butler, have
kind of a wide open pick here because, you know, the Dolphins were really concerned they weren't going to be able to get their quarterback.
Quarterback of the future.
I think they saw last year, you know, when they tried to resuscitate the corpse of Jay Cutler, they really didn't have much there. And, yeah, you've got, you know, number 17 there from Texas A&M, but is he really your future, or are you going to try and build something new? So where do you see the Dolphins going? Do you see them going quarterback, or do you see them going somewhere else in a different direction?
Yeah, obviously there is a need of quarterback. I didn't expect these two guys to drop, but with the departure of Sue and the departure of Jarvis Landry, there's a couple of gaping holes, and I would choose to go after the replacement for Sue, and I'm going to go with Vita Vea. He's not quite Sue, but he's well-rounded enough that he can give you a combination of some good pass rush, defend against the block, defense against the run rather, and even get back into coverage if he needed to. He can move for a big guy. So I'd go Vita Vea at 11.
Well, holy cow! You just had the dream board for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills would be foaming at the mouth now because you've got both Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield still on the board at 12. Buffalo sent Taylor off to the Cleveland Browns.
Purgatory. Just call it what it is, purgatory.
They have no quarterback. I mean, because you had Nathan Peterman, but you really have nothing there. So clearly they need a quarterback. There was rumors they would try and trade up probably with one of those teams that we talked about earlier in that top 5, maybe 7 through 10 range. Well, here their players come down. So what does Buffalo do here?
Buffalo is not going to go quarterback. I'm just kidding. They are going to go quarterback. I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield. He's the combination of the accuracy, the leadership, the personality. It's something that the Bills Mafia will really get a kick out of, and he's ready to step in and be the guy to lead that team. So I'll go Mayfield at 12.
Just for the record, did my pep talk help you with that pick or not?
It did. Thank you. Well, I got to pick him anyway. It's just a little later than I thought.
Well, if this really happened this way and the Dolphins passed on Mayfield, the Buffalo fans would go ballistic because, I think Mayfield's a very Jim Kelly kind of player. They will love him in Buffalo.
Absolutely.
All right. So Washington is now on the clock. They made the big trade for oh my God.
Mr. Mediocrity, Alex Smith.
Alex Smith, thank you.
Mr. Mediocrity.
Yes. So now they have Steve DeBerg Part 2. Where did the Buffalo Bills? I mean, not Buffalo Bills. Where do the Washington Redskins go from here?
Well, I would take a quarterback, but since Dan Snyder decided, I want to keep him for another few years, I guess he's going to wait for another few rounds or another few years before he takes a quarterback. But their biggest hole overall is defensive back. They trade away Kendall Fuller, who was a great slot corner for them. Rashad Breeland is still in free agency, but he's got health problems. And safety is also kind of a disaster after trading away to a Cravens. So, with the 13th overall pick, I have the Washington Redskins getting Justin Reed from Stanford. And fun little fact about Reed, he is the brother of current free agent Eric Reed. And another thing about Reed, he can play slot corner if needed. And I think he'd be a fabulous addition to that secondary.
Okay, Justin Reed. Wow, that would be a shocker there because he's rated as the 45th player, and it got him going at 14. So, okay, so the Redskins take their safety. Where does the Green Bay Packers go from here? Now the Packers have kind of rebuilding that offense. They got Jimmy Graham. They let Jordy Nelson go. Where do the Packers go from here?
So with the players left on the board, like you mentioned, they fixed their tight end position, hopefully with Jimmy Graham. They lost some really big pieces for that offense with Jeff Janis and Jordy Nelson. And they definitely could use some help on defense. But right now, just with some of the players that are left on the board, it feels too much like a reach to get some of those defensive backs. Linebackers are deeper in the middle rounds than the wide receiver position is. So at this time, we're going to go Calvin Ridley, Alabama for the Green Bay Packers.
Crap.
That was my I guess sleeper. I'd like to see if he could make it all the way down to 27 to the Saints. I don't think he will, but
Mike Gribble had him going to 27 to the Saints.
Yeah, if he went to 27, if he made it to 27, I am doing like Michael Bennett with a person in a wheelchair in front of me and just steamrolling that person to get up front and hand that card to Calvin Ridley's at 27. But that's just me.
That's like the Saints getting Julio Jones.
Oh, we could talk about that another time about Julio canceling all his social media accounts.
Yeah, he's coming to the Saints. That's all right. Ooh, did I tell a secret?
I think they would be rioting in Atlanta. Both fans would be pissed. Okay, so
sign him and keep him on the bench just to piss somebody off. I'm sorry,
Arizona's on the clock. Oh, we got to pick on it. We got to pick on it a little bit. Arizona's on the clock. The Cardinals, this is a good board for the Cardinals because they have a need at quarterback. They have some needs in the secondary. They've got some needs on the defensive line. They've got some needs on the offensive line. And a lot of this stuff is wide open at 15. So where do you see the Cardinals going here?
Yeah, they also could use a wide receiver, but with the way that this draft has gone down and these quarterbacks that have been fallen, and especially the type of quarterback that you have with Sam Bradford, where he's not a quarterback that if you draft a rookie, you're going to have the opportunity to wait for him to play. It's more like when he's going to, because you know he's going to get injured at some time, and he's not going to play a full season. He's only played full season twice in his whole career. So with that being said, with the 15th pick on the Donnie Lambert Under the Dome podcast draft special, the Arizona Cardinals picked Josh Allen, Wyoming.
Awesome.
Good pick. Good pick because that's actually a good position for him to go. He has time to develop a little bit. It won't be a lot of pressure on him to play right away. I mean, yes, you're right. Bradford is just like Crystal Chandelier. You know, he has to be wrapped in bubble wrap because you don't know how long he's going to last. But
don't just beat around the bush. Just say what you got to say.
It does give him a little time. So
yeah, and I think I definitely could see them trying to trade up, especially if the quarterbacks start making a run at quarterbacks earlier. And I could also see them picking Lamar Jackson, if not a wide receiver to take over Larry Fitz once he retires.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Jackson would be
that's what
there.
I thought that the Cardinals would do in the first round would be to try to adjust or address at least the imminent departure of Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah. Okay, so now the Baltimore Ravens on the clock. An unusual spot for the Ravens to be picking about middle of the draft. Usually they pick more towards the back of the draft. So where do the Ravens go from here?
They could go a couple different directions, guys. I mean, they basically tried to remake their entire receiving core this offseason. A lot of early postseason mock drafts had Ridley falling to them almost ad nauseum. And they did, they brought in Crabtree, they brought in John Brown. They still don't have a real tight end. And I think that it's a possibility that we could see the first tight end off the board here. I also think that would be a major reach. What people don't realize is that this defense is getting older. They did draft Marlon Humphrey last year, a very talented cornerback from Alabama. And they drafted a couple nice edge rushers. Am I boring you, Sean?
No. I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Ozzie Smith has a reputation of picking big name, big school players right here. And the Ravens defense has always done well with a huge presence in the middle. And it's also a possibility that they could go edge rusher here. And I'm sorry to be yakking on and on. I think they're going to run to the draft podium. And the pick at number 16 for the Baltimore Ravens is defensive tackle Deron Payne from Alabama.
I had a feeling that's exactly where you were going, because that is an Ozzie Smith pick. Alabama, big name school, championship school, bringing in winners into the Ravens program, and especially on defense and defensive line. That's exactly where he likes to build. Great pick, perfect pick for the very Ravens type of pick.
There's a lot of Saints fans that just hope you die in your sleep, but
I thought that was every day.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. The team that plays in a soccer stadium, the Los Angeles Chargers. Where do the Chargers go from here?
Well, the Chargers are 31st. We're 31st against the run in 2017 regular season, and they would have gone with Deron Payne, but since he's off the board, I think that they need to address. They need an upgrade at offensive tackle. And the best offensive tackle on the board right now is Mike McGlinchey out of Notre Dame. He was blocking right alongside Quentin Nelson, knocking guys on their backs all over the place. I think that's the best pick for the Chargers at this time.
Awesome.
Okay. That's a solid pick. Yeah, because had Maurice Hurst heart condition not flare up, I think Hurst probably goes about right here. But yeah. I'm like a lot of you guys, and we're probably all in agreement on this. I think he's going to drop pretty good because they're just not going to take a chance with this right now. Unless the medical checks come out perfectly, which I haven't heard one way or another. I think this is where the Chargers go as well. If this is the way the board shakes out, they go offensive tackle, the safer pick. Okay, so that puts Seattle on the clock. Seattle has no offensive line. They've got no tight end. They have no running back.
But they got a hell of a quarterback.
Their defense is old and it's falling apart. Other than that, they're good. So where does Seattle go here? I mean, there's a whole bunch of directions they can go to.
Yeah, really quickly, they become a team that where they once seemed extremely stout all over on offense and defense. Now, like you mentioned, they have holes everywhere, and I think because of that, I think they could definitely be a team that trades down if they can find a partner that's willing to trade up for them. Mm-hmm. But with me being stuck at 18, and I really wanted that tackle that just got drafted by the Chargers. And then also because I think they have to try to revitalize that Legion of Boom that seems to be going to the nursing home. They need to put some fresh blood in there. And with that being said, they will be drafting cornerback Josh Jackson from Iowa.
Interesting, because I can see that, and I can also see them taking Darius Geis from LSU right here as well.
Back, yeah,
trying receiver. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things. Like that's why I said there's so many holes in this team. They could go in multiple directions here. They've got a lot they need to fix. So now we're to the Cowboys. Where do you see the Cowboys going, Matt?
To hell! I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Well,
Sorry.
the Cowboys, picking for them.
This program started out so well for me to go down so fast. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
Well, excuse me. I'm going to try and not throw while making their pick. They do need to prepare their offensive line. They got a hole at right tackle. They're moving on Leo Collins to the guard position. So there's a whole probably a linebacker because they lost Hitchens, and right now all they got is another glass cannon, Sean Lee. They could use another edge rusher in case Charlton stinks. But with the 19th overall pick, they will take Connor Williams from the University of Texas. They play right tackle if needed, can kick in at guard if Leo Collins shows no signs of improvement. It's a win-win for them.
Good pick.
All right, so Connor Williams is off the board. Okay.
C.
All right.
Seems like I should be able to spell Williams, huh?
You would think so. Okay, so Connor Williams is off the board, the offensive tackle. So that takes us to the 20th pick. Detroit Lions.
Yeah, so
that would be Bob.
No,
I mean David.
Yeah, David.
So I was also looking for Payne to fall here. So this is why I was happy that question was asked earlier, is whether or not we're drafting the way we would draft or the way these general managers seem to draft. And I'm glad you clarified that, Alan, because honestly, if it was me, I would be going with Will Hernandez here. I think the Lions need to figure out a way to get a running game going. I think that's why they signed Garrett Blount in the offseason. But interesting thing, when I was studying Bob Quinn after you said that, he seems to go safe in the first 2 rounds. He likes big conference guys without a lot of red flags, and he doesn't like questions about competition. And not for nothing, but Will Hernandez playing at UTEP has a lot of competition questions. There's some question into whether or not underwear football is going to translate to the field. So because of that, this pick is actually going to be Rashaan Evans, linebacker from Alabama.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I hope you don't sleep forever. I'm sorry.
No, that's. I get what you're saying, and that's why I was saying, rather than try and get into the heads of the general managers, pick where you think they would go. Just make it easier on yourself. But the Lions, I totally agree with that. I think the Lions need to get a running game going. I think you cannot hang your hat on LeGarrette Blount. He is not a 20 carry game. He is your short yardage guy. And so I totally agree. I would not be surprised if they go running back here, but Evans is a logical pick as well. They were very slow in the linebacking position, and I think Evans is a good upgrade for them. Okay, so that takes us to the Cincinnati Bengals, who are on the clock from a trade they made with Buffalo. The Bengals are picking 21st. Bob, where do you see the Bengals going?
Straight to hell.
Already there. We joked in the beginning of the show about picking the guy with the longest rap sheet. And there is something.
I was just looking for the University of Angola prison, but I did not see that on the list.
But I mean, part of the reason why the Bengals are picking at 21st is because they acquired an offensive tackle, Cordy Glenn from Buffalo, which is a major fill for them. They brought in a linebacker, Preston Brown, and a defensive tackle, Chris Baker, in free agency, also filling major holes. Guys, this offense, who has tons of talent at the skill positions when you look at it, finished 27th in pass, 31st against the rush. They did not remake an offensive line that was ravaged last year by free agency. They almost have to go offensive line here. And I was surprised to see him drop this far. But at number 21, the Cincinnati Bengals are going to pick offensive guard Isaiah Wynn from Georgia.
Okay, trying to find him right now. Okay, Isaiah Wynn. Okay.
Okay.
Go pick. Good pick.
You guys bear with us. We're trying to mark this along so we don't let somebody go to the same team twice.
Yeah, no, it's not that hard. I've got my little list here with all the correct spellings too, because these guys don't spell their names right. I hate to say that. I'm just like, what kind of? Like, I'm waiting. There's a couple on here. I'm waiting for them to get to. So, okay. So now we have Buffalo. All right. So Buffalo passed on a quarterback early in the. No, I'm sorry. They took the quarterback. Never mind. Ignore me.
Yeah, we got our quarterback. Don't take him away.
Okay.
Yeah, we took Mayfield. So now we're here at 22. Where does Buffalo go from here? What do they look at? Do they go running back here, or do they go receiver? Where would they go here?
I think we still got a little time left with McCoy. Maybe that's a dangerous statement to make, but you could go secondary. You could go linebacker. I'm going to choose to go with a little protection for my new investment. So I would go, and I lost connection for a little while. I don't know if he's gone yet or not, but Will Hernandez?
No, he did not go. He did not go.
He's a Buffalo Bill.
Good pick.
Thanks.
I'll tell you what, the way this draft is shaping so far, a lot of things are open for the Saints at 27, but that's just me as a Saints fan looking at this.
Don't tell anybody.
You've got some stuff coming here our way.
And my two favorite players are so on board.
Okay, so now
Tyler, you screw this up and I'll kill you.
No, the Patriots. The Patriots are on the clock, and here's where it gets interesting because Tom Brady's 40.
Let's just sacrifice him and kill him.
And
I vote yes.
Sean, believe it or not, there are people who are reporting that Tom Brady is not committed yet to play this season. I'll be shocked if he doesn't.
There's absolutely no doubt whatsoever in my mind. Tom Brady, Aaron Gronkovich will be back. They're all going to be back because they want to get paid.
Sure. So, where do the Patriots take their quarterback of the future here? Do they try and go for Lamar Jackson, or what do they do here?
I would not. I think I hate to say it, but Tom Brady's probably got another 10 years left.
Oh God!
We're never getting rid of him.
You need Rolaids, man.
I would. You want to talk about protecting investment? I mean, there's nobody. I would say there's probably nobody, with the exception of Drew Brees, more important to their franchise than Tom Brady, obviously. So I'll go offensive tackle Colton Miller out of UCLA.
Okay. I just want to find out who the necromancer was that Tom Brady sacrificing children's souls to stay playing football this long.
Real.
Her name is Giselle.
I'm telling you because to be playing at this high level at 40 years old, and I'm 50 right now, and I could barely throw a ball 10 yards now. I mean,
January the 8th, I turned 50, and I just can spell football.
Okay, so
24. That makes it.
Goodness! It's now the Carolina Panthers.
Oh boy! Right. So this would be a pretty ideal board for the Panthers, I think, for a couple of reasons. They have some pretty big needs at defensive back, specifically corner and safety. There's a couple good corners on the board, and also pass rusher too. So I'll say what the Panthers do really well is they kind of sign a bunch of free agents, mid-level, low-level guys, just plug a bunch of holes to try to pick the best player available. If that were to come through, I think in this spot they would take Marcus Davenport.
Good pick.
I totally agree with that. I think that's where they would go.
That is UTEP, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
UTEP.
Explosive pass rusher. With Peppers being up there in age, 37, 38. Even Mario Addison, I think, is over 30. They're productive, but so you want to.
I think Addison's just hitting 30.
Yeah, and they just lost Star Latui, and they need help on the defensive line. and especially pass
Well,
rush.
Star Lotulelei has never developed into what they thought he was going to be when they drafted him to begin with.
No.
I would love to get Tony and Joey on here sometime to quiz them about that, but strictly my 2 cents worth. I don't think that Star Lotulelei ever developed into what they thought he was going to be. Julius Peppers wasn't what they thought he would be coming back. That with the loss of Josh Norman, that made that defense that, make no mistake about it, that defense carried them to the Super Bowl the year that they went. That made them somewhat underwhelming through the course of the 2017 season. And if there was a shortcoming that eventually told on them, which is a fancy way of saying what cost them the opportunity to move on in playoffs, it was that defense. It wasn't the offense.
Well, we just got a correction. David and Josh both pointed out it's Davenport, University of Texas, San Antonio, not Texas El Paso. So
that's what I said, wasn't it?
No, I think we all said El Paso because we all assume UTEP. But Texas San Antonio. I mean, that's isn't that a Division II school? I believe that
no, it is it's in the same conference as Tech, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Louisiana Tech University, by the way.
Yeah, Conference USA, right?
Yes. I believe so.
Yes, CUSA.
And the same conference as North Tech.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So the Tennessee Tuxedos are on the clock. Where does Tennessee go from here? I mean, Tennessee came very close this past year. They got to the playoffs and they pulled a huge upset off the Kansas City Chiefs because Eric Reed went not Eric Reed. Andy Reid went full Andy Reid on us.
Eric.
Yeah, Andy Reid.
What, he knelt for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, well, he didn't even. I mean, he totally blew the game like he normally does. So how does Tennessee go from here? They got to the playoffs. They got handled by the Patriots, but I mean, how do they take that next step? They seem to be a team on the rise. So where do you see the Titans going here?
Putting on a
I'm actually
Patriots
pretty
uniform.
geeked to make this pick for my Titans friends here. Can't really believe this guy's still around, but I'm going Harold Landry, edge defender.
Great.
Arguably their biggest edge defender. Brian Arakpo and Derek Morgan are both over 30. They're both going to hit free agency next year, and they really didn't get anything out of Kevin Dodd a couple years ago. So, this time next year, we could be looking at a completely barren group of edge rushers for them. So, Harold Landry, they don't really need him to stop the run. All they need him to do is use that crazy bend around the edge and get to quarterbacks. And I think that's exactly what he'll do for him in this scenario.
Well, Saints fans everywhere's hearts are broken because that's who almost everybody has circled right now is Harold Landry at 27.
Sorry to kill you on that one.
That's all right. I didn't even know Brian Arakpo. Thank you. Was still in the league. I'll be honest with you. I did not know that.
Well, that tells you something.
He hasn't done much since that soda commercial.
Yeah. Okay.
Jake, let me ask you while we're here on your division. Let me ask you this. This kind of is your team that we're dealing with. Is there any concern as far as Andrew Luck with his future?
Not right now, really. Right now, things are just they are what they are. Working through his rehab. He was actually out there with them for their first OTA practice today. He didn't throw, but it's a good sign that he was at least out there. Last year, when it was just filled with mystery throughout the year, they barely ever, even put him out there at practice for anyone to lay eyes on. So They don't seem to be being as secretive with him right now. They've already ruled out having to have a second surgery. With the rehab regimen he's been under, if he was going to need another surgery, it would have happened by now.
Yeah.
A lot of us kind of on Colts Twitter passed around a video earlier in the week. Tom House, the passing guru who he was working with down in LA. It looks really cool, the program that they're doing with the weighted balls and rebuilding arm strength and things like that. And we're just kind of looking through some photos today from the Colts practice. Andrew is yoked right now. He looks enormous. He was real skinny, but now he is just enormous. He looks great.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. I watched earlier this week. I can't recall. I believe it was Colin Cowherd. And they made such a point of belaboring the point that it's been 18 months since Luck had thrown a football. I was just wondering, from someone that covers this team on a regular basis the way that you do, is there any concern moving forward that you're possibly in a position at number 6 to address that? Should that be considered a need moving forward?
There should always be a little concern just until we see him back on the field. However, I'm going to tell you now, there's 0% chance that they take a quarterback at 6.
Yeah.
If they were thinking of taking a quarterback, they wouldn't have moved back from 3 to 6. Staying there at 3, they could have almost had their pick of the litter among quarterbacks.
Sure.
But at 6, you're probably taking yourself out of the running for the top 3 or 4. And just from Chris Ballard's comments and everything, I think the whole concern on their part about Andrew, that ship has sailed. I think they know he'll be back. They're just not showing much concern about it. Unfortunately, right now for us, it's April. It's a huge storyline until we see him play. But I'm not really concerned.
Like I say, I apologize for putting you on the spot there. I missed my opportunity at number 6 to throw those at you, but I didn't want the opportunity to slip by without me addressing that with you.
No, I feel it, buddy.
Okay, so we have the Falcons now on the clock. Josh, how do you see the Falcons going? Do you see the Falcons going at defensive tackle here, or do you see them addressing the tight end position? Where do you see them going?
No, I don't think it's going to be an offensive player. If it were going to be an offensive player, you'd look more likely on the offensive line. So I'd say definitely defense. And in this case, I think 2 guys are on the board that they really like. The first being Taven Bryan, defensive tackle from Florida. Kind of an explosive guy who can the field, fits the mold of kind of the raw type of athlete that they like to pick and then develop. And then cornerback Jair Alexander from Louisville, also another big or an athletic, fast guy who can, again, be molded into probably a pretty good cornerback. So I think if it came down to this, those would be the 2 guys that they would look at the most. I think one of the guys they like a lot is Rashaan Evans, but he's already off the board. So in this case, I'll go ahead and pick Taven Bryan for them. Fills a bigger need right there at defensive tackle after they lost Ontari Poe in free agency. They need someone to play next to Grady Jarrett. So I think they would take Taven Bryan in this scenario and try to start developing him and get him ready for week 1.
He's a good pick. He's somebody I kind of mocked. I've mocked to the Saints a few times. So, yeah, because he does fill that role, and he can even kick out a little bit and play the edge if you're going to, say, a 3-man line and you're dropping, everybody in the coverage. He gives you a little of that flexibility. So he's a good player.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're at the Saints. And we've got a few options. You've got tight end is still wide open. Not a single tight end has come off the board.
That's what shocked me the most so far. Well, everyone, nobody could talk enough about the tight ends going into this draft, and we're at number 27, and not a single one has been picked.
Yeah. Well, I kind of have them all as second-round picks anyway, but we're talking about this point of the draft now. This draft is about 20 players deep. And as far as high-quality first-round picks, So I think at this point now you're looking at guys who are borderline first, second round picks. So this is a good place for a tight end. This is also a good place for an edge rusher. Now, we lost Harold Landry to Tennessee. Do you see an edge rusher at 27 still on the board, or do you think you go offense here and take a tight end?
So it's funny, going into this, I think, a few picks ago, my go-to pick would have been Harold Landry, but we all shrugged a bit. We all groaned, They got picked off the board, unfortunately. I think right now for all the Saints fans, if you had to ask me what players, the Saints would be considering right now, I think they'd be considering Sam Hubbard out of Ohio State. I think quarterback Lamar Jackson would also be in the mix. You love Sean Payton. He loves his quarterbacks. But
your next word better be Hubbard.
But I think right now, going into it, there are a lot of ifs and maybes about the Saints right now. If Alex Okafor is healthy and has another good year, we don't exactly need a defensive end right now. So with the 27th pick, the New Orleans Saints decide to choose a Mike Gesicki, tight end out of Penn State.
Okay. Over Dallas Goedert. Okay.
Threw a little bit of shocker in there for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, with us not having a second-round pick, I think this is a position that the draft fell this way and they lost out on something. They couldn't move up to get a Harold Landry or a Tavian Bryant or get a good edge rusher. I think they try and trade back and pick up pick up a second-round pick to really target the tight end. But this is not a bad pick. There's a few places they could go. Yeah. Because that's the top three needs. You could also have a linebacker here. There's still a couple of linebackers on the board. Yeah. So, it's not a bad pick. I'm not critical of this pick at all. I can see this going this way. Sean?
No.
I mean, what do you think?
You don't like it?
Well, for your benefit, I'm so glad that you chose the right name to say, because if you had said Lamar Jackson, oh my Lord!
I was thinking about it. I actually was so.
Well,
a little bit.
There is that debate.
Drug abuse is rampant among your age group.
Tide Pod eating.
Not today.
Okay.
The number 28 pick. We're moving back to the AFC North with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That would be Mr. Expanded Metal himself, Mr. Bob Rose.
Yes.
What say you?
Well, I say it's pronounced Pittsburgh Steelers in that.
Yeah.
And good pick, Tyler, by the way. But the Steelers, everybody has the Steelers needing, and this is very true, needing a linebacker, particularly a versatile athletic inside linebacker after losing Ryan Shazier to probably a career-threatening injury last year. And that defense wasn't the same. They brought in John Bostic at linebacker. They brought in Morgan Burnett at safety. Both of those are going to help. But I think Steeler fans are really hoping that Rashaan Evans falls to them. Since he's off the board, I next had my eye on defensive tackle, especially as I was watching Taven Bryan fall, because the Steelers lost twice to the Jacksonville Jaguars last year because they were absolutely obliterated up the middle by Leonard Fournette and that Jaguars offensive line. So I think going tight end or going what's best left at defensive tackle would be a bit of a reach here. So what I think that they're going to do, it comes down to two names, and these are both Steeler guys. Leighton Vander Esch from Boise State. It just kind of has Pittsburgh Steeler written all over him, as does Ohio State North. If New Orleans is Ohio State South, Pittsburgh is Ohio State North. Sam Hubbard, the edge and defensive end, is a complete ball player, and I think that he would play well in a Pittsburgh Steelers team. So number 28, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Sam Hubbard from Ohio State.
Good pick. good pick. Yeah, I can see
I
the
think
Saints.
Sean just died right there.
I can see.
I got 9 things going on. Y'all have no idea what the role of a producer is. Anyway. Okay, that's my meltdown for tonight.
Okay, so you got the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock now.
Hey, can I chime in real quick, guys, about Mike Gesicki real quick?
Sure.
Wait a minute. That's the Saints pick, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, please do. Enlighten us, please.
I was going to bite my tongue, but because it's the Saints podcast, I figured it'd be okay for me to elaborate a little bit.
No, it's fun.
Earlier in the offseason, very early in the offseason, actually, James and I had Chris Godwin on the Locked On Bucs podcast, which, for those who don't know, is a Penn State wide receiver that was drafted by the Buccaneers last year and did great. And, of course, like we always do, like you guys did with Arthur today, we asked him, which guys from your alma mater are going to set the world on fire, which guys are being slept on, so on and so forth. And he mentioned Deshaun Hamilton, and then he mentioned Mike Gesicki specifically for his leadership and work ethic, saying that he's a very – this is paraphrasing, of course, but basically he's a very underrated player. So I'm not really a fan of any of the tight ends in this class, when you look at them in a vacuum, but getting Mike Gesicki, if Chris is right, which I assume he is, might turn out to be a really good move, especially 3 or 4 years down the road when you got Mike Thomas, Gesicki with some experience, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, and whoever else you had in the meantime to break in a new quarterback after Drew Brees. So just for what it's worth.
Good analysis.
Hey, I'm all for that, and that's why I said I can see tight end here.
Right.
That's after we make that trade with Buffalo for Baker Mayfield.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I hope he's wrong. Like, I hope Mike Gesicki comes in, tears apart the locker room, and eventually leaves his band near the entire roster.
I hear you. Well, I see that. I see the Ohio State mug back there. So
yeah, I know which side it is. I got the helmet up there too.
There you go. Okay. Well, Dave, as always, appreciate the analysis.
Appreciate it.
We're with Jacksonville on the clock. Jacksonville is a team that made the playoffs, made it to the AFC Championship game, and for about 3 quarters looked like they had a good chance of upsetting the Patriots, and then
we're a quarterback away from it.
Yeah, you saw Jacksonville's offense for what it was. Tom Brady made the plays that couldn't make. I'm sorry, I was going way back in time. You don't want to know what name I was coming up with first. But Bortles couldn't make the throw. I was going way back in time.
You was going to Saints backup quarterback, wasn't you?
No, I was going back to the 90s with some of the quarterbacks of Packers. I almost said Brunell, but no.
That was the Saints backup quarterback when they went to the Super Bowl. That's who I was talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So Bortles couldn't make the throws that Brady made. So where do you see the Jacksonville Jaguars going here? What do they need to take that next step to get to the NFC Championship? They seem to have the defense. They've got the running game. They've got receivers. So is it a quarterback they look at, or is it where do they go from here?
Oh, there's a few names I'm really looking at here. Jair Alexander, I think, would be an excellent fit to replace Aaron Colvin in the nickel, who went to the Texans. Throw him out there with Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Boye. I think that'd be really good for their pass defense. The fun pick would be Lamar Jackson. I don't know how high they want to look at a quarterback, though. I think there is some trust in Bortles, and there is a ton of dead cap tied into him for the next couple years. So I don't know if they want to invest a first-round pick in that position yet. But the name I'm going to go for, and I'm glad Tyler made the decision he did. I'm going with Lake. I'm going to throw him right in the middle of the defense with Miles Jack and Telvin Smith on either end. Paul Posluszny retired. Let's go ahead and throw in another linebacker into the middle. Van Der Esch is very athletic, very strength.
I'll let him know.
Okay, so we have the Boise State linebacker going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which actually is a good fit for him. So with that, with Jacksonville, how do y'all see that pick?
I think that's bolstering an already solid defense.
I totally agree. I think Jacksonville flirts with the idea of Lamar Jackson here because I think, like you said, that would be probably a fun pick to take. They could – that would really threaten the AFC South because a mobile quarterback like him, that would be a great offense for him to work out of with the power back and a good defense. I think that's a good fit for him. But you can't pass up this linebacker. Leighton Vander Esch is just really a great fit for a strong defense at this point. I saw him going to the Steelers as well, but
Monday was the last day.
Yeah. So this is linebacker country here now because the next few teams are all teams that could really use some upgrades at linebacker. Minnesota Vikings are on the clock. Where do the Vikings go? The Vikings think they, like the Jacksonville Jaguars, were a quarterback away from really making the Super Bowl. They've made their quarterback. They've committed to Cousins. So where do the Vikings go from here?
So I don't think that the Vikings were really a quarterback away from making it to the Super Bowl. I think that
I agree with David.
So we're on the right path, right? Passing game, I think, had a lot to do with the reason they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but I don't think it was really all on Case Keenum, and it's not going to be all on Kirk Cousins either. So the back end of the first round is always reach territory, which is why I have a lot of fun with this area. And looking at the Vikings, they could use some safety help. You know what I mean? Both their safeties are getting older. One's 30 already. One's about to be there. But there's a lot more. There's some safeties deeper in the draft. They could use tight end too. Rudolph is also getting older, so they could use a guy to bring in and spell him a little bit and groom for the future. But I'm gonna, and this I know this is reach, but I'm gonna go with DJ Chark out of LSU. And
wow.
And the reason I'm going to do that, okay? So when the Vikings lost to the Eagles, none of their wide receivers had a yards per catch average over 9 yards. And nobody actually even hit 9 yards. Like 8.8, I think, was the highest one. And that was Stephon Diggs. 8.8 yards per catch is not championship football when you're talking about the offensive side of the ball. And a guy like DJ Chark, while he is a stretch here at the back end of the first round, the Vikings have the luxury of taking that stretch and making that reach to try to get back into contention. And you place DJ Chark in the slot with Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, and now the Eagles secondary can't play up the way they were against the Minnesota Vikings. They have to stay back. They have to stay honest. And now Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen and Kyle Rudolph and hopefully, Dalvin Cook when he comes back have so much room to operate underneath that defense and in that umbrella that I don't want to say they're necessarily beat them, but the chances of them being victorious are a lot better with a guy like Chark to stretch the field than without him.
You'd take Chark, well, obviously you did, but you'd take Chark as a deep threat over DJ Moore from Maryland?
That's a very tight competition there for me. So DJ Chark is my favorite wide receiver in this class, just from a raw standpoint. So that's the reason he gets the nod here. But DJ Moore is definitely the most, I want to say, mainstream pick. So DJ Moore is another guy who definitely fits that bill. Who's the kid from SMU? He was on the board there for the Vikings a little bit. Exactly. He just doesn't get the separation. Like he doesn't get the separation that I think the Vikings wide receiver core needs. So definitely between those two guys, for me, it's Chark by a hair. So that's why I made that pick.
I think Chark gives you some special teams dimension that you may not get with DJ Moore and with the kid from USC. So I can see that rationale, but that would be an interesting pick. That would be to see him go up that high just because of that raw speed he's got. So,
and I'm aware of that, just so you know.
I think that me personally, I think that anywhere in the first round, Chark would be a reach. Not because of ability or what he can or can't do nearly so much as experience. You're choosing him over some guys that have much more big game experience than he's got. I think he could probably use a little more room to grow.
He's definitely gonna need room to grow. Which, and again, you don't usually want to draft a slot receiver in the first round of the NFL draft, right? Just like you're not going to draft a slot corner in the first round necessarily. So again, definitely a reach. But I view him a little bit like I viewed Michael Thomas coming out of Ohio State, not in the same athleticism, obviously, but in the sense that I think LSU's passing game and their struggles in it really diminished Chark's value. So,
I can absolutely agree in that.
Yeah. Okay, so now the Patriots are back on the clock. This is their regular pick. So where do the Patriots go for here? Is this going to be their quarterback, or are they going to go somewhere else?
I'm torn. I'm going in a lot of different directions here. I would love to take a weapon like Hayden Hurst. I think that aside from being a mismatch nightmare, the Patriots lost some weapons on offense, and when it was Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, and they were actually both legally on the field, it worked. I mean, they people couldn't deal with that, but I'm going to shy away from that. It's that fifth year that's really tempting me to go with Lamar Jackson here, but If he's still on the board, I'm gonna go with Denzel Ward. I don't know if somebody picked him or not. But just
Raiders.
Did he go?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Then that makes my decision for me. We'll go with Lamar Jackson. I'm sure Belichick will find some creative ways to use him. Either that, or he'll back up for Tom Brady for 5 years.
And the entire Who Dat Nation just went, "Thank you, God."
That would be very interesting to see how Belichick does with Lamar Jackson, because there are certain teams I think that he would be a good fit for. Jacksonville would be interesting. New England would be very interesting because if anyone can turn him into a system, and he played a system very similar to what the Giants play that Earnhardt Perkins, I believe, system. I have to go back and look. I forgot the other person's name. I think it's Ray Perkins. But it's a system the Giants ran back in the 80s, and it's evolved since then. And that is the offense that Louisville was trying to run in college. So it really would not be that big of a leap to see Lamar Jackson go to New England. And it's so that would be an interesting fit to see how this goes. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. I like this pick. I like this pick right now.
Lamar can be the best player if things go well. If he sits behind Tom Brady for 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, I mean, defensive coordinators hated playing against him. I mean, it's really the future of the league in the way that a lot of teams are going, having so many options to be able to run the read option or quarterback runs or makes plays with his legs. I mean, even for the Saints to get him, I, as a Falcons fan, absolutely do not want the Saints to pick him, because I would just hate to have another running quarterback like that in the division, similar to Cam Newton, who's just super hard to game plan for. You don't have to have him make ridiculously accurate throws. You can build an offense around him that allows him to use his strengths and be a really dangerous player.
Yeah.
Running quarterback since Aaron Brooks.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so we're now at the final pick of the draft, the Philadelphia Eagles, where the Eagles look like they're set for another run because, they won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Now, granted, Wentz carried them there for most of the season. Foles just really came alive in the playoffs in a way that nobody expected, especially if you watch those last few games of the regular season. Now, on defense, they did let a couple people go. They let some older players go, the tight end, so they have no depth behind their tight end anymore, Zach Ertz. Where do you see the Eagles going here, Matt?
Well, like you said, we lost our backup tight end, Trey Burton, to the Bears. So there's that. Maybe drafting a future left tackle because Jason Peters did tear his ACL, and he's also 37. So there's also that. There's also a linebacker because Hicks, he ruptured his Achilles. But then again, we probably play like a 5-2. after getting friggin' Nagda and Michael Bennett. But with the 32nd overall pick, I'll go with Yellow Shoe Boy Darius Joyce, because what worked for them also was a three-pronged running attack with Blunt, Ajayi, and Corey Clement. So going running back here wouldn't surprise me at all. So I got Joyce.
Okay, that's interesting pick. Yeah, because they did make the trade for the Dolphins running back. I'm sorry, guys.
Ajayi.
Thank you. And I'm much better when I have a chance to Google people's names to remind me of things. But
and all the while, I always thought he wasn't listening to what I had to say, but the entire time he was Googling the next question.
No, I just draw a blank on names because there's so many things I try and keep track of. But you make the trade for him. He did help you in the playoffs, but yeah, I can see them looking for a young bell cow running back. This is a running back, a three down back who can catch as well as run. It would make for an interesting move where you could maybe move, people to a third down position and so forth. So that makes for a good draft. So where did Sean go? Sean just walked off the set. You don't walk off the set. He's back. You don't walk off the set, Sean. Sorry.
I know.
I don't care if you got a pig. You don't walk off the set.
Well, that can get embarrassing, though.
All right, guys. So we've completed the first round. We kind of went over time because that's just the way it goes. How do you guys feel about this draft? Y'all,
let's go Stance.
Anybody you think is a reach? Anybody you think you're like, man, how do y'all feel?
Anything's possible, really. So this can definitely could happen. I mean, but we'll definitely be seeing a lot more trades than we'll be definitely be seeing some trades. But I could, even last year, the draft didn't go the way that people expected, and this year is not going to be any different.
This kind of proves one of my adages about the draft. When you read people's mocks and things like that, and they go, "Oh, well, there's no way this guy's going to still be on the board. There's no way this guy's going to still be on the board." Look at the guys that are still left for round two. If the draft fell this way, DJ Moore is still on the board. I'm sorry, I just folded my book away.
Something.
Yeah.
Dallas go there.
So yeah, Dallas go there. You see a lot of talented players that people projected to go into the first round, and here they are sliding in the second.
I think that ours had a lot more practical application than what will actually play out in Dallas.
Regardless, I mean, it's just, and Maurice Hurst is still on the board, and he's got the heart condition, but he's a very talented player. We talked about the receivers that are still left. Mark Andrews, another tight end that's still on the board. Sure. Lorenzo Carter, another linebacker that's still on the board. You see a lot of good players, and then your quarterbacks. Yes, we took Lamar Jackson, but Mason Rudolph. He is still on the board. So you've got a lot of options here in the second round. The top dozen or so players that people predicted, hey, maybe they might make it into the first round, go into that second round. This is a good time for the Saints to try and trade back in and get something, especially with a guy like DJ Moore still on the board. I want to thank you guys for all contributing to the show tonight.
I can't even see everybody across the bottom of the screen. This is so cool.
As always, it's great to have all you guys on here because we enjoy having all y'all as a guest.
I'm going to do the countdown across the bottom of the screen as I see them. That is in no particular order. And we're going to give you guys the opportunity to plug yourself, your shows, your writing, your website, anybody says hi, Mom, will be immediately cut off. That being said, beginning with tonight's NFC South representative, Josh Schultz. How can people follow you, brother?
So it's just at Draft Blackboard on Facebook. We just have a Facebook page, usually put out a few mocks, some scouting reports here and there. We'll have the final mock drafts on probably Thursday afternoonish, just to make sure there's no last-second trades. I'm sure there will be during the draft at this point. I'd expect a ton of trades this year. Seems like the talent of the draft is in the second and third round, so I think teams are going to come back for maybe just an extra third-round pick here or there. But yeah, at Draft Blackboard on Facebook, and thanks again for having me.
Thank you again, Josh.
Thank you so much, Josh, for being a part of what we're doing here tonight.
Go Falcons.
I heard that.
Why don't you just spit in my face?
Okay. What are you into, Sean?
Mr. David Harrison, how can people follow you and your gigs?
Yeah, so you can find all my written work at thepeterplank.com, covering, like you guys said earlier, the Buccaneers and a little bit of the draft. Daily, weekly podcast, daily during the season, bi-weekly during the off season at Locked On Bucks. And then on Twitter, I'm at DH82_Bucks as well. Thanks for having me on, guys. I look forward to the next time I get to hang out with you.
Absolutely, David. Wonderful.
Thank you, big time, brother.
Yeah. Go Bucks, whatever.
Division rival. There again. Why don't you just spit in my face? Jake Arthur. Last year I drooled over you and Jack Kapansky because y'all were such big influences on me when I started at PFS. And earlier tonight I introduced you guys as the glorified PFS reunion. You and Andrew. How can people follow you in your work, brother?
Yeah, again, thanks for having me, and it was great to be with you guys here again. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Jake Arthur NFL. I write for StampedeBlue.com, which is SB Nation's Colts site. We're just absolutely pouring draft content out right now, especially this week. It's been crazy. We're only 2 days in. We recently put out a draft guide at the beginning of April. Over 250 pages. It's been doing really well so far. We're excited about that. Also, to anyone watching from the Indianapolis area, we're actually doing a live broadcast of our podcast on site at the Metazoa Brewery on Friday for day 2. So we'd love to have anyone come out there, drink beer with us, watch the draft, watch us talk about the draft, what have you.
And I can personally attest to you guys that if there's anyone that actually lives and breathes the Indianapolis Colts, and you can absolutely trust this man's instincts and his knowledge of this team, it is Jake Arthur.
You're making me blush, dog.
Check's in the mail, brother.
All right.
Also, covering the AFC West for us tonight, former Pro Football Spot Denver Broncos journalist Andrew Wiedemann. Andrew, do you have anything that people can follow you at?
I have a Twitter account, but I'm not really active in writing currently. I'm mostly taking care of my 1-month-old son currently, so that's pretty much taking all my time.
That's a better job. Much better job.
Yeah.
That's a lot more dependable than the Denver Broncos, I promise you.
Well, yeah, this year for sure.
Andrew, you were one of my PFS buddies from a long time ago, and I'm so thankful. And as much as the St. Craft Radio guys and Bob Rose and Tyler Raymond and all of the my guys mean to me, it means maybe just a little bit more when the old the PFS guys can join me on this show, because they were there when Under the Dome was kind of like a seed way back here in the back under the bill. It just means that much more to me for you guys to be able to be a part of what we're doing now. Thank you so much for being a part of our show tonight, and we look forward to having you on again later.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
That brings up Mr. Butler.
Hey, guys.
Covering the AFC East tonight and putting those teams in a state that they probably will never recover from.
You're probably right.
From Last Word on Sports, Mr. John Butler.
Yeah, there are 4 fan bases that are cursing me right now. But before I get into that, I just wanted to thank you guys for having me. I did get a phone call while you guys were speaking. Baker Mayfield was just traded from the Bills to the Saints for their 6th-round pick.
There you go.
Whoa, who do we have to drug to get that?
so we made out all right. But I am on all the social platforms at St. John Butler. It's I don't know if you can see that or not, but I wrote it down on one of my business cards. I just happen to be sitting here, but it's at St. John Butler.
Yes.
I don't have any fancy banner on the bottom or anything like that.
Dude's got business cards. How do we compete with that?
You need to send us some.
All right, and again, I appreciate you guys having me on. I'll start doing my homework and posting some 3 things I learned all over again.
Well, just for my personal, for whatever it's worth, that was the highlight of Wednesday morning for me, was sitting there with my phone going, he's going to post it just any minute now. Anytime now.
Wow, I feel a little pressure now. I better get back to work.
You should feel pressure because
But seriously, I mean, it made me up my game, because for the longest time it was always Alan did this, Alan did this, Alan did it, and I was like, did somebody tell John that I was on the show too?
Well, Alan just has a way. Alan just has a way of pulling the most obscure references into football talk. So it's just,
I have a complete and thorough knowledge of completely useless information. That's how it works. If it's
works for
obscure
me.
movie references, I'm going to make them.
Completely useless information
not
and New
dead
Orleans
yet.
Saints. How does that figure in together?
That's exactly it. If I can slip in a movie quote, I'm going to do it too.
Absolutely. Always a blast.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
Covering the NFC West for us tonight, the St. Craft Rate, the Beer Guys, and the Seagull Commander.
I tell you what, I need some of that beer.
You know what? The show lasted longer than we expected, and it's we ran out of beer.
Oh my God!
You're fired.
But yeah, guys. First off, we want to just thank you guys again, especially for the love that you guys have shown to 2 guys out in San Diego.
Behind enemy lines.
Yeah, behind enemy lines, like Sean likes to say. But 2 guys out in San Diego that are Saints fans and just started the podcast about a year ago. We love the Saints, and then because we are living in the craft beer capital of the world, you can add us if you want. We enjoy also drinking beer and talking about beer, but we want to thank you guys again for having us, and you guys can follow us at St. Craft Radio on all the platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think we still have a MySpace.
My God.
Yeah, but if you guys
do you have to do dial up to get on AOL?
We're waiting for we're waiting for our guest.
We're waiting for
our next 36 3 hours.
Yeah, we're waiting for the next 36 hours.
No, thank you guys seriously for having us on. Like Rick was saying, you guys have shown a lot of love to us, and we appreciate that. If you guys want to talk sports, beers, anything, we are at St. Craft Radio, and just want to say thanks again. We really appreciate the love and
great meeting everybody. Yeah. Also, some great names that we follow out on.
Well, Toots, I got to tell you, the ultimate compliment that you could have possibly paid me is taking one of my off the cuff remarks and making it your Twitter handle.
I love it. I love it. What?
He's cleaned up a little bit, though.
I did. I shaved a little bit off, but
well,
I can command those seagulls.
You guys
Seagull Commander.
You guys are in God's country out there in San Diego, so it's beautiful out there. I love that place.
Yeah, whenever you guys are always invited. Come on over.
Absolutely.
You got airfare?
We're not that big yet. We got it.
Yeah. Well,
we got to sell a lot more beer.
We have a place to stay, and we have plenty of refreshments for you guys.
There you go. That's the easiest part. The airfare is cheap compared to that.
Yeah, so, that's the truth. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Look forward to having you guys back real soon.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And then there were two.
Oh boy!
And this is probably, these are the two longest standing of our guys. Tyler Raymond, picking for the New Orleans Saints tonight. Commander of the Who Dat Dish podcast, who I will be appearing with. Momentarily. And also writes for Who Dat Dish. Tyler, how can people follow you, brother?
Well, I was gonna say first, did you like my pick? What did you think? How'd I do?
I think you did well.
Wait a minute. Let me look back at who it was.
I think that's why David came on to kind of support your pick, because he really liked it too. I mean, like I said, you could go either way with Mike or Dallas Godet. At that point, given how the draft fell, it fills a need. It's a good pick. It's a good pick because a pass catching tight end is critical in this offense. So
yes,
I liked it. I like it.
I put it this way. I like the Gesicki pick way more than I would have taken the kid from
Louisville.
No, South Carolina. Hurst.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't think he's a first round pick. I think he's
no. I don't either. He's more of the old. Excuse me. Old traditional. He catches some passes. Yeah, he blocks. He's more of the well-rounded, but that's not what you're looking for in Drew Brees' New Orleans Saints offense.
Yeah.
No, and he's 25. He's an overaged rookie. So you want to go with a younger guy, and that's why Gesicki and Goddard both are graded much higher. So I like the pick at that point. If you're going to go tight end, those are good ones to choose.
I've said this for years now. You can plan and plot and do all of this stuff with your draft strategy, but when it comes right down to it, after about the first 6 or 7 picks, I don't care who you are or what your needs are, you're going with the best player available.
Mm-hmm.
You can plan, but that's only limited. Once those players start flying off the boards, you're going to take the very best player as per your team's needs that's left on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that be, you may be the New England Patriots, but there's a quarterback that's really high on your draft board. You got to take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here
you go, Alan. What were we gonna say?
I was gonna say, believe it or not, we're approaching the 3-hour mark in this thing. So
I'll make it.
We're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to go real soon. So I appreciate everybody sticking with us this long.
Yep.
As always.
Really quick, everybody knows how to follow Bob because he's on here like every other week.
Bob, I understand your podcast is shifted now. I saw an update. You're changing nights or times?
No, I am changing times. We are going to still be a Wednesday night podcast, and I believe for the most part that I'm going to stick with a 7 Central, 8 o'clock Eastern time. But tomorrow on our draft preview, we're going to have a 2-hour show, and we pushed it back until 9 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock Eastern time, so 8 o'clock Central time. For the first hour, Barry Hurstis will be my guest from the Saints News Network. And for the second hour, Mike Detillier has agreed to come on.
Awesome.
We're really excited about that. We're going to try to get word out as best we can tomorrow. Obviously, as you guys know with this show, everything is just so crazy this week. Yeah, I mean, Mike is the best. This is the first time I'm going to be on a show with him. So I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, I don't think we're going to permanently change times, but this was the best time slot for him. So anybody that's listening, tune in. The show's name is the Bayou Blitz, and it can be tuned in through Saints News Network, or just reach me on Twitter too at BobbyR2613, and I'll feed you all the details. Guys on the panel, if you're still listening, I want to reach out to every single one of you guys and get you on my show at some point in time. And Arthur Maulet, if you're still listening, it was such a pleasure to meet you and get a chance to talk to you a little bit. And I hope to get you on my show too. You were a great interview, and believe me, you have a lot of fans in Who Dat Nation.
He's not wrong.
Okay, and I'm going to plug Mike Decillier's draft book here. I've got my copy here. It is officially sold out. You cannot get this draft book anymore. This is my first year getting it. We talked about this last time. The average, my little average draft books here that I've got, because I still buy this I buy magazines still instead of just Googling stuff. I buy magazines.
MAGA what?
Yeah, 200 players here. 300 players here. 526 out of this one. Mike Detillier is over 600 players. So, if the Saints draft them, chances are they're going to be in this book. So next year, I encourage everybody to get this because this is the draft Bible. When the Saints drafted David Onyemata, no one had anything on him. Even the guys on ESPN and NFL are like going, oh, I don't know. I don't have any footage on him. Mike Detillier had a write-up about him.
Wow.
Akeem Hicks, Mike Detillier had a write-up about him. Even the guy from Miami who only played a single year and then had the scandals in the Muhammad last year, Mike Detillier had a write-up about him. You couldn't find it anywhere else. So that's incredible that you guys had Detillier on your show. I'm looking forward to seeing that tomorrow night. I will be watching. So thank you, Bob, and thank you, Tyler, both for being on the show tonight. We're going to have to wrap it up because we are like way, way over time. Thank you guys for sticking with us all this time. We're almost at the 10 o'clock hour, and we started at 7 o'clock.
We can do that.
Yes, I know. But I kept worrying we would get cut off anytime now.
Really quickly, I want to say thank you to the entire list of guests that were with us tonight.
Thank you, Joel Smith, for broadcasting us on YouTube.
Yes, that's what
on Facebook tonight.
That's what I was about to say. Thank you so much to not only Joel Smith, but also to John Pinto for all of the work that you guys did behind the scenes and to help us pull this off. You'll never know how important you are in what we do.
Absolutely. Join us next time to be the post-draft edition. We will dissect and analyze the draft picks because, of course, none of the guys we picked are going to get picked like this. We will dissect and analyze the draft and see just how much better the Saints got, how much better the NFC South got, and where we see the Saints going from there because we should, by Monday afternoon, I believe now, we should find out all the undrafted free agent players that the Saints will sign after the draft, like an Arthur Maulet. We should know all that, so we'll talk about those players too. So until next time, guys, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us under the dome, and we will see you next Tuesday night. Thank you, everybody. Good night.